This podcast is brought to you by the following
Why don't you go like
sponsors.
this and have lightning come from your hands? Yeah.
I'll just do this.
Effects.
Finishers MMA is located at 3761 Nicholas Street in Easton, PA, Lehigh Valley's home for 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. The amount of people that they have over there instructing is insane. They have J.M. Holland, John Thor Blanks opening up 10th Planet Allentown, Zach Meslaney, Grace Gundrum. It is elite teaching over there. They teach self-defense, no-gi jiu-jitsu, and kickboxing. They have a kids martial arts program that is building and growing, and Grace is teaching every single kids class. Get over there. They are the biggest killers in the game. That's 3761 Nicholas Street in Easton, PA. Do you have anything to interject?
You didn't let me talk. I don't know.
No, I would like trying to get quicker on that. But they have multiple schools, and it's www.finishersmma.com. That has their schedule on there, and it has when they rotate everything. And they have evening classes because if you work and you can't get there, they even have, I think, an 8 o'clock class on Wednesday.
The thing I like the best is that they treat people with respect. It's not like one of those weird places you go and they talk down to you and, you know, like I'm a big bad sensei kind of crap.
No, not at all.
They're super cool guys. Everybody that goes there is nice. Everybody's friendly. It's just a wonderful place to go and learn jiu-jitsu. Wonderful place to go learn choke people.
Yeah.
Just go choke some people.
Every time I've been over there, and I get a little intimidated sometimes going into classes like that, even like going to the gym or like the Y, I get a little uncomfortable, and they make you feel at home there. Super professional. The guys have been doing it for a while. Zach, JM, and Thor all have their black belts. So
and they have crazy top-notch equipment. Everything is awesome. It's not some...
Yep. Every now and then they do
awesome. It's an awesome place.
Seminars and stuff there too. So check it out. It's finishersmma.com, and they are located at 3761 Nicholas Street in Easton, PA. Their social media is everywhere, so you can go find them. And thank you guys for being a sponsor. Taylor Edge Wood Company. Drew Hoagland. They make handmade and local crafting and bringing you gorgeous custom wood design. If you're looking for a custom table, nightstand, countertop, and more, they can help you. Drew made this table and that desk. A lot of people always have asked us who did this, and it was Taylor Edge Wood Company. Their social media you can find is Taylor Edge Wood Co. on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram has a lot of the pictures and stuff. That's the best place to follow them. They just got the website up. It should be running by the time this airs, but that's tayloredgewoodco.com, and he's going to have cutting boards on there. Their T-shirts are really cool. I know they're doing fall shirts for that, and he's just a stand-up guy. He's done nothing but help the show since day one and has really ultimate crafting.
Yeah, if you're looking to get something different for your home and you don't want to have the same boring home with the same boring box store, stupid tables that are particle board that are wrapped in crappy vinyl stuff, check him out. He'll come and give you an estimate, let you pick out whatever you want. He's a crazy nut for black walnut, and he loves the stuff, the smell of it.
He's obsessed with it.
Crazy. It's a little awkward, but he's very very talented. And like I said, if you want something custom and nothing says that you're cool, then I have a damn custom table and you don't.
Yeah, and you get professional quotes, and he's also got that he's going to be having that on the website where you'll be able to get quotes off of there. So if you're looking for top-notch,
locally sourced,
everything's out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, support local people.
Yeah, so hit them up. You can hit up tayloredgewoodco@gmail.com for any inquiries on what you need. Instagram's a good way to get a hold of him, and he runs it with his wife, so they're super local to us, and they helped us out since the beginning. So please go check them out, and thank you for being a sponsor.
All right, our next sponsor is All Valley Rooter and Plumbing.
Jared LaBarba. I've been friends with Jared for almost my entire life, and he came down to the studio looking to sponsor, and we had a long conversation, and he wanted help building in the Nazareth area. He has a lot of work in the Lehigh Valley, but he specifically wanted to get into Nazareth, and we have a really big reach in Nazareth. It's not a big place, but we do have bigger reach than anyone else here.
We control the whole
We
town.
own Nazareth. But Jared went through his whole story and told me everything he's doing, and his plumbing is top notch. Yes. They do faucet repair, sub pump replacement, sink installation, pipe installation, leaks, toilet repair, and more. They have 24-hour service, 365 days a year. They charge by the job, not the hour. All services come with a 1-year warranty and guarantee. He's going to be our plumber from now on if we have any problems with the sink and whatnot. Yeah. Having plumbing issues is probably one of the biggest headaches ever.
It's one of those things that if something goes bad with your plumbing, it's really bad. There is no minor plumbing issue. And it's good to have someone that's local that you can call, that you know, and say, hey, I really need your help, as opposed to some guy that he's going to spend, he's going to take 3 hours to get there and he's going to show up. He's going to overcharge you. It's just not worth it. Go with a local guy, super professional. He can do everything you really want. He lists a bunch of stuff there, but I'm pretty sure he can do pretty much everything involving plumbing. So I'm just going to call him for everything. So. Whatever.
Yeah, and you have 2 properties that you can use them for now, too, because you didn't have a good experience.
No, they were horrible.
I wish you would say who it was.
I really hate that.
His website is allvalleyrouter.net, and that is the place where you're going to find all of the information you need to get a hold of Jared if you have any plumbing issues, or if you're just trying to get quotes for stuff. But they are 365 days a year. They are open 24 hours, and we want to thank him for being one of our first sponsors on the show. It means a lot, and all you Nazareth peeps or anybody in the Lehigh Valley who wants a trusted, reliable, professional plumber, please contact Jared.
And our next sponsor is Rips Auto Detail. I love this guy. Go ahead.
One of my favorite guests on the show.
Cool. He's a really nice guy. He's a very good DJ also, by the way.
Yes, and he's super professional at his job. He's got over 15 years of experience. He's located at 630 North Nelson Street in Allentown, PA. He does paint correction, ceramic coating, interior, and pro auto detail. If you follow him on Rips Auto Detail on Instagram, it's insane what this guy actually does with a car.
I am recommending that you go to Popeyes, which is right up the street, and you put fingerprints all over your vehicle, and then you go there, and he will make it perfect again.
Yeah, he's got 15 years of experience. He's got a package for everyone. What he stressed on the show is that he doesn't just do super high-end vehicles. Yep. He can do anything from, if you just have a daily driver and you just like having a clean car, you can get that done, all the way up to getting a boat done.
Yeah, well, it's worth it because I had my SUV detailed last year, actually, just because, especially when you live around here with the salt and everything else, if you get a really good detail on it, it actually will keep your car looking better than dealing with all the salt, because you keep going for car washes and stuff. That's not good. So if you get a really good detail on it, it actually will help all that stuff. So it basically winterizes your thing. And plus, when it gets nice out, you just go there and get it, just touched up a little bit, get it, refreshed, and you have a car that doesn't look like you're a slob.
You can contact him directly on Instagram, and that's at Rips Auto Detail, or you can call him at 484-553-1366. If you really want to know what this guy does, check out our past podcast with him. It's got a boatload of information. I didn't know, I knew he was good at what he was doing, and he opened his own business and all that, but to hear the story of how he got to where he's at, and the 15 years experience, he's a super pro. He's a really great guy. Just go check out his stuff at Rips Auto Detail on Instagram, Facebook, and his website is coming soon. So go check him out, and he's one of our first sponsors as well. And we couldn't do the show without all these people, so I want to thank everyone. And shout out to Rips Auto Detail, and give him a follow.
And he gives you a free bucket of chicken.
No, he does not.
He's from Popeyes, says he does. Put that in there.
He didn't even like Popeyes.
Rips, you need to give out free chicken. Thank you.
Check out what he's doing on social media, and we won't use that part. And then we'll end it with, this is a professional Class A operation. Check out the podcast we did with him.
Our next sponsor is Luke Delmeyer Custom Knives. If you've ever wanted a custom knife, say a chef knife, say a camp knife, say any kind of cool custom knives, I'm sure any of you guys have watched Forge and Fire or whatever, this guy actually does that. He makes wonderful, crazy knives. He's leaps and bounds above anybody you're going to have around here. He's a good dude. You can contact him and give him basic parameters of what you want to make for our custom knives. He does sell his own knives on his website.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different knives on the website and his Instagram as well.
Instagram, he puts it up a little bit, and he'll say, hey, man, I'm selling this. His website's lukedelmeyer.com. Yeah, I mean, he lists a bunch of stuff. Like I said, you can ask for the custom stuff. He's starting a new line, which you can talk about, of the chef knives.
Yeah, the chef knife that he brought over to the studio was incredible because he showed me the demo one that they started with that he made out of a leaf spring, which is insane. But then what he handed off to me, I immediately just wanted to start prepping and cutting onions.
You were trying to.
I was excited to cook, and that's what a chef knife should do. And if
you
you're
just kept telling him you wanted to use it to cut something.
I did. And if you're looking for a chef knife or any sort of custom knives that you would like in your life for whatever reason, this guy, the amount of work that he's putting behind it, the craftsmanship that's behind his actual craft with blacksmithing, the dude's extremely talented, extremely humble, and please go check out his social media, and it's Luke Delmeyer at Instagram. That's where you're going to get a lot of his knives. He's testing the knives.
But you forgot the coolest part.
What's that?
You want to make your own knife?
Yeah.
He's got classes.
Yeah. That's right.
He has his own classes. You can go there, look like an idiot, because that's what I'll probably look like when I do mine. But you can go there, and he offers classes and teaches you how to make a knife. And I think that's awesome because there is no one and nowhere in this area that does that.
No. And if you're looking for a custom knife of any range, whether it's something that you're just looking for hiking, or if you're looking for a chef knife, or you're just looking to collect something as a hobby, go check out his social media, check out his webpage, get in touch with him, and see which knife is right for you. And that's lukedelmeyer.com. And thank you for being a sponsor.
What's going on? Yep. All right, whenever you're ready.
We have to do the clap. Never Again Radio, episode 26. Getting good. Welcome to Never Again Radio, man. How are you?
Pretty awesome. How about you?
I'm good, man. We were bullshitting before the show. Our paths crossed. I've noticed you more than you probably noticed me, just because I was younger and you were a scary older person. But our paths have crossed through Stacy, because I used to come over to parties with her when I was younger, and then through Joel, and then, like I said, Bicknell and whatnot. So I've been wanting to interview you because I just know stories and all the stuff, and you're just such an interesting person. But Pleasure and Pain, that was probably the first tattoo shop in the Lehigh Valley?
No, there were other tattoo shops, but we were the first punk rock kind of tattoo shop. The tattoo shops at the time, there was Peter Eagle, Skin Flicks.
Was Gator Rick then too?
I think he may have been around, yes. And there was Sam Snyder on the south side. But they were like your old school kind of typical tattoo shops. And we were just some punk rock kids and opened the tattoo shop. I got into it with Mark DiGirolamo, the Vampire Den. And he was ahead of his time. He was really gifted. Got into heroin. And, I ended up leaving him. And that's how I opened Pleasure and Pain. I believe it was 1993. It's when I opened Pleasure and Pain.
Yeah, because I feel like there wasn't anything like that around at all.
Dude, I remember my brother got his first tattoo at Skinflix. Made an appointment, we went in there, and it was just really quiet. And everybody was really... And then he went, like, a couple of months later, he was like, I'm going to get something else. And we drove by, he's like, let's go in here. And we went in, and there was just music blaring. And I go, this is what I think a tattoo shop's supposed to sound like. Yeah. But over there, it was, like, really quiet. It's weird.
At the time, Skinflix was one of the best tattoo shops around. So it really was.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
Who did you bring in originally when you opened it? I mean, have you at that point, have you ever ran a business before?
No, that was the thing. I never even wanted to own a tattoo shop. When I was working construction, paycheck to paycheck. A lot of my friends got tattoos. I wanted to get a lot of tattoos, and suddenly I got the bright idea, instead of buying a tattoo, save my money and buy tattoo equipment. I'd have all the tattoos I wanted for free. Didn't quite go so well. Yeah. But
were you drawing at the time? Were you like into art and stuff like that?
No, not really.
So you're just going to figure it out?
Yeah, I was just going to wing it. I realized there was a lot more to it than what it appeared to be. I couldn't even really draw a skull at the time. did some really horrible tattoos on my friends. Give me a 6-pack of beer, I'll come to your house. There's a party, I'll tattoo you and people for beer. I'd drink the beer while I was tattooing.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible tattoos. I think we sterilized stuff with a match and rubbing alcohol. We got away with it, luckily. Nothing really bad happened. But, I stuck with it. I liked it. I kind of got sucked in. I met DiGirolamo, Mark DiGirolamo at the time. He was way ahead of his time, one of the best around. And he took me in under his wing and got me tattooing in his shop. And from there, it just took off. And he got into heroin. So I took his shop over, and literally it just dawned on me one day that I suddenly owned a business. I had employees working for me.
Yeah, you were just running somebody else's shop.
No, I actually bought it from him.
Oh, you bought it from him?
Yeah, because he wanted to leave town, try to get straight. So I bought his shop from him. And, yeah, it dawned on me one day, I'm like, I own a business. I have employees. This tattoo thing's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I loved it. I pursued it, and that's how it all happened. But then that was still the vampires then, actually. And when there's some other things that went down there with the building, ruptured sewer line and some different things, conflict with the landlord. And that's when I was like, you know what, and just the whole reputation of Mark with the heroin. So I just left Open Pleasure and Pain, a brand new spot, brand new name. And that's John Bicknell that you mentioned earlier. That's when he and I teamed up. At some point, Stacy Donadio that you mentioned, she came in. She was our piercer.
That's right. I forgot that's what she was originally doing.
Yeah, John taught her to tattoo, but yeah, she came in under John at my shop. So, but that's pretty much how Pleasure and Pain got started. John and I started it, and of course, he and Stacy started dating, and that's a whole separate story I won't get into. But
no, everyone knows how dating people at work goes.
One of them had to leave. I remember John talking to. I'm like, dude, it's not a work issue. I can't make her leave. And I was sorry to lose John. I didn't want to lose either one of them. But that's how John left Open Steel City then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there was a massive amount of talent that came out of there.
We were like a superpower at the time because we really focused on being, we didn't want to be mediocre, and we were onto the new thing. I mean, at the time, all the shops around here were just the typical, you walk in, you pick that little design off the wall.
Yeah.
But we were paying attention to the advancement in tattooing, whether it was cross-contamination, sterilization, new pigments, new techniques, needles, just the artwork in general, freestyle stuff, custom stuff, and that's really what we were into. And we just pursued it, and next thing you know, we had a collaboration. We had the best of the best for a while.
How long were you guys there doing that? I mean, and whereabouts at Easton was it?
Well, the first place was on 3rd Street. It's a place that Anthony's Pizza is. We were right next door there. They expanded into that space. There was a Perkins there. I believe it's 112 South 3rd Street, I want to say, or something. Yeah. We were there for 2 years, and when our lease was up, the landlord would not renew it because some of the other businesses were scared of our customers. Even though we weren't causing trouble, we had all these scary-looking punk rock people out front. Businesses felt like we were scaring off their customers. So I moved up to 452 Northampton Street. Got a condemned space. Took me 2 weeks to get the garbage out and 4 weeks to bring it up to code. I've been there since 1995 now. So that's a total of 27 years.
And a lot's going on in between that, I'm sure. I mean, did you, because you have so many different avenues to go down, and that's why I told you yesterday on the phone, and I know you'll end up coming back on this multiple times, but it seems like you have so many different avenues of things that you're into, because there's the whole thing with the music and the band. I mean, were you tattooing the entire time? Have you just always tattooed, or did you take breaks and go into music more? And
I didn't really take a break from tattooing until, I decided I was going to do this thing called getting married and start a family. And from there, I kind of got a little distracted. I married a very wealthy woman who I met skydiving.
So that's a whole other thing too.
Seemed like
skydiving.
A dream situation. Yeah, and I was kind of like, all right, let's take a break. I've been tattooing, I think at the time, 17 years or something. I've been tattooing religiously. I mean, sometimes I tattooed 12 hours or more a day, and my shop was my life. It was a job I loved, So I was like, all right, let's take a break and just go do some other stuff, travel the world a bit, have some fun, focus on my son, who was born. I did that, and the next thing I knew, yeah, probably a good 6 or 7 years went by and I barely tattooed much. So I kind of fell back in love with tattooing all over again.
Yeah. Did you feel like it was calling to you when you weren't doing it?
Yes and no. I mean, I'd miss it a lot, but it was one of those things I never found myself once being like, I'm never going to tattoo again. I was always like, even to this day, I can't picture ever, as long as I'm able to, never tattooing. You know, no matter how much money I had or whatever else I had going on in my life, I love tattooing. I love the art. It gave me so much, too. I mean, that was the thing. I had nothing. Tattooing gave me so much. Brought me to so many awesome people. It gave me a decent income. It gave me something I could be proud of. You know, at the time, I was kind of a hoodlum when I started tattooing. I couldn't really talk about much of the stuff I did. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I worked construction, but you know, it was
Yeah.
tattooing took me a whole other direction.
When did you finally like kind of realize that like when you like I'm sure like it was a point where like you hit a groove and you're like, holy shit, like this is like I own a business, I'm making money, like this is kind of took me to like I'm my own fucking boss. I mean, you know, because it's like if you have a busy clientele with it, you can really make good money with it.
It's a true story. So Mark DiGirolamo, he had the Vampires Den. That's where he took me into the shop, got me tattooing in the shop. I bought his shop from him, the Vampires Den. It was $3,700, all the flash and everything. So he took off. I'm in there. I had one employee working for me. The shop's closed. Everyone's gone. I'm in the bathroom taking a dump. I got the door open. I'm sitting on the toilet. And this is when it literally hits me. I was staring out the bathroom door into the shop. I'm like, I own a business. I'm a business owner. I'm actually a tattoo artist. And I have an employee. I'm a boss. And that was an epiphany moment, but I realized how, you know, I love tattooing and got sucked into it without even realizing that. But once I had that realization, it made me love it even more because that power, I just got so overwhelmed with it. And it was something I've realized, obviously, I enjoy because I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tattoo. You know, at the time, I was doing a lot of hoodlum stuff that made me some okay money and stuff. And at the time, it kind of been my life a little bit. You know, I was working construction, but had other little things going on. And I just kind of slowly gravitated away from all that and started focusing more and more on art. Now, I couldn't draw at all. I mean, it was bad at first, but after a while too, it was like a progression. You know, it was like you'd see stuff you did 6 months before and realize that you were so much better than you were 6 months before. So and sometimes you do. And nowadays, some of the things I do, I'm kind of just in disbelief I actually accomplished that.
Yeah. What was it like? Was it difficult for you to start handling the back end of it? Like the numbers and all that stuff? Was there a point where you were like, this is nuts, like I'm doing numbers and taxes and like paying people and like, I mean, well, like how did it go for like the employees? Like, did they just rent space from you or did you take a percentage of?
They're more like, set up like independent contractors.
Yeah.
Where I take a percentage. But all the business aspect, I mean, I'm not the best businessman with it. Definitely could be a lot smarter with things I do, and sometimes I've run my business into the ground, whether it's my fault or other things that have happened, been up and down. You know, if I'd been more smart with stuff, I'd definitely be a lot better off. Even though I had that superpower collaboration of people, I kind of neglected my business, took it for granted. I would say maybe a victim of my own success.
Yeah.
Had the clothing going, the band was going good, we were doing national tours, huge concerts, and now I got this tattoo shop that's just over the top as well. And it's not like I really walked around thinking I was the best, but somehow I just took it all for granted. You know,
Yeah.
It's no big deal. And you know, things start disappearing and you're like, oh shit, you know, it's time to start rebuilding.
Yeah. When you said you were going on tour nationally and all that, was that El Destructo you started at the time?
Yeah. Yeah, we started doing.
How did that start? I mean, you're obviously into music.
I just wanted to always do music, and at the time, you know, I'd met some musicians I knew through the punk rock scene in Philadelphia, and I helped them out with their band, kind of funded their project in exchange for them helping me with music. And I still remember for this day, I had no idea there was a mathematical equation to music. So we'd be doing music, and they're like, bro, it's like a 4 count, 4, and then we'll go into the bridge. We'll do so it'll be like 8, and then we'll go into the bridge. It'll be 4, and then we'll go back out. We'll do another 8. I'm like, well, what is this math they're talking about? No idea. And to this day, I still pretty much say I'm tone deaf as far as I'm not really a singer.
I try to explain that to my daughter. Like, it's funny to watch when you explain it to her, and she's like, she's 8, and I was like, listen, yeah, there's like, it's 4 times. So I was like, if you follow, I go, watch how amazing I am. And I'm counting, and I go, watch, you're going to hear the kick drum. You're going to hear the downbeat on the 4. And she keeps going, how do you keep doing that? And I go, because that's how music is. It's supposed to be on time. If it's not, you have jazz. That's what jazz is. It's all over the fucking place.
Yeah. Well, jazz is pretty complex some of it too.
Well,
but
they're all playing different shit.
Yeah, jazz is a very touchy-feely thing. And that's at the time, I almost wish I'd never learned this, like looking behind the curtain at Oz.
Yeah.
Because it was just this sound I heard, and I didn't realize there was all this other stuff happening behind the scenes. It's odd, though, because it doesn't have to be an even count. A lot of like reggae music will follow an odd count. My one drummer was just like, he's like, I swear you're black. He's like, 'cause I naturally want to follow a 3 count.
Yeah,
like,
well, a lot of country used to do 3 too.
Yeah,
they do 3/4 time. That was a lot of older countries used to do that too.
That's wherever I get it from. I naturally want to follow an odd count. I don't want to follow the even count. And numerous times I've been back and forth because I want to do some stuff. And I'll get some musician working with me, and they're like, well, that's not an even count. And I'm like, I don't want it to be an even count. And they're like, well, what do you mean you don't want an even count? I'm like, there's no set rule. It does not have to be an even count. As long as we know what the count is, it works. And they're like, oh, they get so pissed. Because they've been doing an even count. It's just that repetition. You're just so used to following it. That's where those jazz guys are good.
Yeah.
Those jazz guys, some of the best musicians in the world. Whatever you want to do, a good jazz musician, they can do it. Punk rock, hardcore, metal, blues, whatever you want to play.
Well, it takes talent because they're all playing different shit.
Yeah.
So they have to be locked into their stuff while other people are doing other shit. And if you can do that and tone out everything else, you're going to be able to do whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Well, I had a jazz drummer play with me, and the only reason he did it was he wanted to increase his arsenal.
Yeah.
He had never done punk rock, and he's like, I want to be able to do punk rock. That's how those jazz guys are. They don't want to be that person. You come up and you want to hear something or whatever. You want to jam with them. I got you.
Were you always into punk, like growing up listening?
No.
What'd you listen to?
I came from York, Appalo, Harrisburg, like farm country, not even the city York, but Shrewsbury. It was all farmland. I just grew up on metal, Motley Crue. Well, they were actually more, in my teens, Motley Crue came on with AC/DC, Black Sabbath, all that stuff. My father would be listening to that stuff. The radio would play it, and I loved metal. Ozzy Osbourne, and Judas Priest, and Maiden and stuff. And then I got into a lot of trouble. Spent most of my teenage years locked up in boys' homes. So somewhere around 15, I had a punk rock roommate. He kept playing Black Flag and Suicidal Tendencies and stuff. I wanted to beat him up at first. did not like him, did not like the music. It's like, what are you talking about? We're going to play some Maiden and some Priest, and he's playing Black Flag or Suicidal Tendencies. But I kept hearing the lyrics, what they were talking about in punk rock, especially, say, suicidal, institutionalized, and, and different verses. And I realized it related a lot more to me. Metal, they were just kind of talking about a little rebellion and just odd stuff, but they weren't talking about, being dysfunctional and mom and dad being divorced or, just all the screwed up stuff that happens as you're growing up. It happened as I was growing up. Next thing I know, I had this Black Flag, going through my head, and the Suicidal going through my head. Next thing you know, the Brian, was it Brian Bosworth?
Yeah.
Football player?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
it's the best haircut ever.
That's how I started my mohawk. I just started shaving a little strip on each side, and every week it got a little bit higher. And the next thing, one day I got myself a full-blown mohawk and realized I was going to be into punk rock, and I just got sucked into it then. Started going to hardcore shows, punk rock shows. My first punk rock show was Suicidal Tendencies at the Airport Music Hall. It was probably 1987. And once I went to that show, I was hooked. It was, like-minded people. They didn't fit in. They weren't trying to fit in. They didn't care to fit in.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, we're oddballs, and we're not ashamed of it, and we got these problems. It was almost, instead of being ashamed that you had dysfunctional family or you had some issues, it was like, Yeah, man, I'm a little messed up.
Yeah, and there's a group of other people that are exactly like me.
Yeah.
That's usually how it is.
Yeah, I found a tribe.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you start like forming the band and all that? Because if you had all the tattoo shit going on, I'm sure that was crazy busy.
No,
Where did you even have time for it to fit in?
The music started a little bit before the tattooing. I was like early 90s. And that was real slow. You know, it started off almost like a ministry style industrial thing. As we had a R8, a Roland drum machine, and we just started making songs. And it was more like just a demo project. I remember the first show, I think it was 40th Street Underground. I think there was, might have been 8 people there. And they had to push me out from behind the PA, you know, the speakers. I was terrified. I've never been on stage. And they're literally like, yo, it's your time to play. I remember they literally had to push me from behind the speakers out onto the stage, and I played that show. But the thing that really got me with music was all that punk rock music we were just talking about. I literally feel like it saved my life because I found that punk rock music. Suddenly I wasn't such an outcast. It wasn't like there was really other people had these problems, and maybe it wasn't really the end of the world. You know, it was just things happen. And so I wanted to kind of keep that music alive and just do music for that reason. And maybe I think everyone who really kind of pursues that path will tell you most people have something they're lacking, dysfunctional family coming up. So in a way, you're seeking something maybe as part of that whole thing. You get a bunch of people to like you. And it's a challenge, too, to go from being that reclusive, shy person, ashamed of everything, to just standing on stage and just belting it out. You know, it's kind of
How long did it take you to get comfortable? Was it like a couple songs in or a couple shows?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm still terrified to go on stage.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's definitely gotten a lot better, but it was a long progression. I think it was Joe Clark at Croc Rock. We were supposed to play with Anthrax, and before that, maybe we played in front of 100 or maybe 200 people. You know, punk rock shows.
How were you getting your music out at that time? Because it's not like it is now. It's not, hey, we have a band camp. Hey, we put this shit on SoundCloud.
No YouTube.
Yeah. Because essentially you could just do whatever the fuck you want right now.
Yeah, we would print up cassettes. You know, we would make demo cassettes, 4-song cassettes.
Yeah.
I remember, I think Stacy Denario even helped me with a bunch of them. I had a paper cutter, so we'd print out the cassette jackets, because if you got them to print them, it cost you even more money. So we get the cassettes duped, and then like Masterworks or something, and then we would print the sleeves ourselves, fold them up, and stick them in there. And of course, your shows and everything, we would get them out. But that was about how you got your music out.
Yeah.
You know, just word of mouth. You go to other shows that were like-minded, you know, genres, and maybe pass out some demos to people, let them know about your stuff, stickers.
Dude, I remember going to New York, going to see a hardcore show, and this guy handed me a demo. And I looked at it and I was like, Biohazard? I go, everyone knows who you are. Why are you handing out demos? Yeah. And they were like, we got a new album coming out. Like, at that time, there was no other way.
No, that's how you did it.
And it cost, if you went through the label to have them do that shit, that comes out of your end. So he goes, I'll stand outside these fucking concerts every fucking weekend and hand shit out. And I was like, I can't believe like guitarist for Biohazard's giving me shit. Like, I know who you are.
Is that like Billy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always loved that they came to the area so much.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
That was fun. We played Tompkins Square Park, and Roger from Agnostic Front came up to me after we played Tompkins Square Park. That might have been 92 or something. He's standing there being like, I can tell you haven't been doing this long, man, but stick with it. He's like, I like what you're doing. And I remember just a couple of my friends were with me like, oh my God, it's Roger, you know? And I'm looking out and just kind of overwhelmed. He's like, I'm like, I know who you are, man.
Yeah. We all know who you are.
That's got to be crazy. Who was doing your booking and all that too?
We did all our booking. We harassed people. You know, I did most of it myself. The Tompkins Square Park thing, there's a guy, John Singleton, Credo Sound. He had put that on. It was actually commemorate the riots when they kicked all the homeless people out of Tompkins Square Park. And there was actually a riot that day with the New York police. It was a pretty wild event. But John's more infamous for killing Gigi Allen. He was Credo Sound. He was doing sound for Gigi Allen at the gas station. And he goes, I told Gigi Allen, no shit. He goes, he smashed up whatever, but I didn't want any shit. And he's like, I told him as soon as I saw shit, I was going to pull the plug on the show. course, G.G. Allen had to get some fecal matter out there. And
Yeah.
at that point, the gas station was set. They just had to steal garage doors. You pulled down over the sound equipment. John shut G.G. Allen off and ended the show, and G.G. Allen was dead 24 hours later. I'd always pick on John that he killed G.G. Allen.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That must have been a crazy time to be touring and doing music. I feel like that's so different than how it is now.
Well, punk rock was, at the time, the early 90s especially, it was such a violent scene from town to town, different cliques. I mean, it could get gnarly real fast. People ended up dead. People ended up in jail for life. It was just, it started turning into a lot of gang stuff. It was wild. It was exciting. Anything but boring.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like it is today.
No.
That's why I don't really listen to punk music anymore today, because the punk bands now, they just whine a lot, and I'm like, you guys wouldn't have made it back then.
No. The thing with...
They just wouldn't have. It's not even the same. Like, what do you complain about now? Like, back then, you were lucky if you could get into something that they would let punk rock play. And then they wouldn't give you, like, the best shit, so you'd have to do with what you had.
Yeah.
And then you got people coming from all over because they're so excited to see punk rock. It's not like how it is now when, you want to go play? Like, you could go to Croc Rock when it was open, not anymore, but you could go and be like, I want to do this, and there's like a sound system, and like you don't have to bring a fucking PA, and there's like everything's set up. Back then it wasn't like that. It was just go.
I just remember
like
Scarlet
New York
O'Hare's.
hardcore was like how many basements, and it would just be people come up bloody.
Yeah. Even you said Scarlet O'Hara, that was a basement. Oliver Jay's was a basement. Allentown. But at the time, that's how punk rock was. It was very underground.
Yeah, there was a place up by Stroudsburg. I know that used to have shows every now and again, and then they got bought out by like a used car lot. But the guy tried, like there was, like, because I look back on it now, and it was just people that were probably my age now, and they're just like trying to keep this cool spot alive for bands and young kids to come to, and I just feel like that isn't around anymore. I could be.
That was that warehouse space there off of Ann Street, I think, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
There was just, and then he tried to move it to another space, and it never got open.
You could never do something like that now.
Well, see, that's the thing people don't realize. It's like the hippie movement of the 60s, Woodstock and all that. That's how punk rock was. Now, I feel lucky because I came in mid-'80s, and I caught what, more or less the midsection of it. It started late 70s, mid-70s or something, and really kicked off the early 80s. So punk rock, that whole movement was in full swing when I discovered it and got in on it. But the punk rock thing is like the hippie movement. You can still buy tie-dye stuff and, do this hippie thing if you want to, but it's not like in the 60s, and that's how punk rock was. It was a time and space that you were in, and there's no going back to that, I don't know.
No, well, think about now there's lawyers and everything. Could you imagine trying to get a club approved when you go, we're going to have a pit, and then there's going to be people coming out with bloody noses, and people are going to get fucked up, and there's no way.
Yeah.
No one would ever do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like I remember fucking Stars nightclub and the place outside, like they would always have the Ramones.
Yeah.
And I remember as a young kid, that was like my first concert. They're like, we're going to go see the Ramones. And I was like, fuck yeah. And you go up and it's all skinheads and everybody else. And I'm like, what's happening? And they're just beating people up. And I was like, man, this was weird. And I still said I was there with my cousin, and he was like, yo, man, just pay attention. Don't start fights with anybody.
Yeah.
Don't like look at anybody bad. And I'm like, what are we doing? So I remember some fucking skinhead knocked this fucking dude out and turned around and looked at me, and I just went, oh. And he goes, hey, man, you're all right. And for the rest of the night, everybody loved me. So I'm like, listen, I'm not a skinhead, but if you love me, I'm on your side so I don't get beat up. So every time we go there, it was like the same people. Yeah. I saw that
always
three
remember
fucking
going
times.
to shows
The one
like
was
that.
outside. That was like a beach club or something. That was, they had an outside, like they had sand and shit. So Stars was right where Rod's gym was, where he moved, the new one.
Yeah, I forget.
That
I
was
remember
what,
seeing
Dolphin?
the Ramones.
Was that Dolphins?
Marilyn Manson played down
Yes.
there.
Yeah, that would have been
crazy.
so much fun to see.
Well, no,
was.
Manson's first album is not like the rest of his album. His first album was like, That's rock. Like it's hard rock.
I remember he got mad at me at that show because he was sticking the tampon up his butt and threw it in the crowd, and I screamed Gigi Allen at him, and he just looked at me and shook his head like, you know. But the Ramones, that's cool. You got to see the Ramones. That's
3 times, man.
That's probably some of the last shows they played.
Dude, so loud. It was so loud. I still remember, and you'd go and like back then you couldn't, you wouldn't see people like putting ear things. Like you were just none of that. Yeah. I remember coming home, and that's why I probably have fucking really bad. And I listen to a lot of music, but I remember the first time I went there, and we ended up going, and like how it worked. I was like right in front of the stage, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I can grab the fucking Ramones because there's no back then security was there, but they weren't.
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is me!" And there I was, the speakers right here. The whole show, I went home, and I just remember, for 2 days, and I go, "Wow, does that go away?" I remember asking my dad, and he goes, "Yeah, that's called hearing loss." And I go, oh. So the next time we went, we stayed back. But yeah, dude, every time we went, it was so awesome there. But they would play non-fucking stop. People don't realize it would go. I mean, their songs are only fucking minute long or whatever. But he would just go from one song and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the next one.
Yeah, it was no
non-stop.
Yeah.
Political.
Sometimes
speech.
I like seeing bands that do that, and they just come out and they like just kick right the fuck in. They do like 8 songs, and they're like, "All right, cool, thanks. This is what we're doing," and then they go right into the next shit. There's no bullshit in between songs. Like,
yeah, I don't want to hear. Like we talked about this before. I don't want to hear your political opinion. Yeah. I don't care about anything. If you want to talk, tell me a fucking funny story about something on stage or something that happened. I don't care that, that's why like half these bands, I won't listen to them like Green Day, One Up when Trump was fucking thing, and they're chanting like, fuck Trump, all the, dude, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care if you don't like them. I don't care if you're chanting fuck Hillary. I just don't care about your politics.
That's one of the dumbest things you can do in music. I remember Ministry doing that with George Bush.
The Dixie Chicks did it as well.
Exactly like
Dixie Chicks did it. Well, Rage did it. And I never knew growing up, like Rage, I was like, man, I love Rage Against the Machine. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, they're stupid. Yeah. Like they keep idolizing Che Guevara and he's a fucking prick. And I'm like, oh my God, they're fucking dumb. And I'm like, I can't even listen to them without going, I don't like these people.
Pretty much if you do politics in music, you're going to alienate half your crowd.
Yeah. Sure.
Because whether you're pro-Democrat, you're going to alienate the Republicans.
That's what most of what music is. Most of musicians are Democrat. And they're
not
Democrat, they're liberal. Well,
he's awesome. He came up to Penn Speak, and I remember I was working there at the time. I was cooking in the kitchen, and they said like they have to pull him aside because the time that they were before that, he shot a flaming arrow. But like they were, but that place is just made out of wood. Yeah. So like he did it.
Lacquer.
He did it, and then the time that he came, like. The owner and one of the guys had to like pull him aside on the bus and was like, yo man, like if you do it, like we're pulling the plug and you're not getting paid. Like we're not fucking around, like whatever, you do your thing, but they're like, we're not burning our building down and dealing with like great white bullshit.
Well, and like I said, it's
pyro in a fucking small club.
No, for the most part, yeah, most artists, and it's because of when you think about music, and most artists are more like anti-government, anti-everything. So everything, they tend to lean more liberal. They just do. Yeah. But then, like I said, the ones that don't, like I like Aaron Lewis, and Aaron Lewis goes on stage, and he's not liberal.
No.
So because he's not, everybody liked him when he was in Stained. Oh my God, this is amazing. And then he comes out and starts saying like, I'm not, and gets all the tattoos, like, and people are like, oh, he sucks now. Yeah. No, he doesn't suck. He hasn't changed. It's just when you start shit, he's going to tell you that he doesn't like you.
Yeah, but as a musician, you're going to lose half your crowd.
It's rough.
You put your message in there as
just stay out of, just stay.
Revolution,
don't talk
but
about
don't polarize. And pick.
But I'm saying is you don't have to do that. You can just do songs about whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that will just say, hey, I don't know this guy's politics, and that's how it's supposed to be. I don't care what you do.
Yeah, I came to listen to music. If I wanted to go to a political rally, I would have went to a political rally.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. When you start doing weird shit, I'm out. I pull the plug. I don't care.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I remember I love Ministry, but I was so glad this time around. Someone must have told me to shut up about it when he was on tour with Slayer. Yeah. But when Bush was in office, he was nonstop Bush.
Yep.
Not like I was a big George Bush fan. But I was saying, I was like, shut the fuck up and just play some music.
That's what happened to System of a Down. System of a Down was anti-everything. And in their videos, they start like having George Bush riding rockets and stuff. And people are like, what? I don't want to be involved in this. And then they just you don't hear from them anymore.
Yeah.
They lost everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what happens if you start running. And it's like, I get you want to use your platform, but you also have to remember that it was the people that are listening is what gave you the platform.
Well, that's what I think. You know what I think? I do.
No one wants to listen to fucking politics. You're fucked.
I think it's like when you're a band, and I don't know, but I'm saying is I would imagine when you're a band and you get popular, and all of a sudden it's like, yo, come and play on Saturday Night Live. You're like, yo, we fucking made it. Like, we're going to be going to millions of people. And in your head, you're like, I'm on top of the world. Like, people care about what I say. And that's when it starts spinning. Like, well,
next
I don't
thing you
like
know,
this.
you're ripping up picture of the Pope in half.
Exactly.
Pushing it.
And all of a sudden, you're like, fuck. Like,
that was such a big deal. If someone did that shit now, no one would care.
The Dice Man came out and talked about his shaved little vagina. She cried.
Yeah.
Well, look at Madonna came out and came out on a women's rally and just said, I think every day about blowing up the White House. And I'm like,
what the hell?
Why are you not in prison?
Yeah, what's wrong
How
with
did
you,
that
woman?
get by? And I was like, what do you were...
Or to be that ignorant to say something where if somebody that is so into her or somebody who would just be so unintelligent to do something, like you could be triggering people to like you have too much pull to be saying dumb shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially for someone who's like at this point in her career, like going from how sexual she was to a point where she's like, I'm a role model. Yeah. And then you're like, hey, we should blow up the White House.
She
what are you doing?
Like a John Hinckley Jr. with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Shot Reagan. Well, some goofball that's infatuated with Madonna is now like, well, if I blow up the White House, Madonna's going to have my love child.
I feel like we haven't had one of those weirdos in a while.
Oh, we just cursed.
Oh, they're out there.
I think they just go viral now before they get into weird stuff.
Yeah.
How did you come up with your platform and like your theme and how you do El Destructo? Because you have like a very specific style of like stage presence and what you actually bring to the table. Because I feel like it's not just your regular band. Like there's a lot more to it.
I don't know if we would say it's that specific, but it was one of those things. I grew up with the real punk rock. There were real riots. I remember one of the first times up in New York we came out. Super Bowl hardcore, and I was one of the first maybe 200 people out there. You were talking about the skinhead thing.
Yeah.
I still have mohawk.
Yeah.
It was like 3 or 4 dudes with mohawks. Somehow I survived the show. It was like 2,000 skinheads.
Yeah, there was always the guy with the mohawk.
I was one of the last. That was the progression. You kind of, everyone was mohawks. Next thing you know, everyone shaved their heads bald.
Yeah.
But we come out and the police are like, get the fuck off the street, and they're chasing us. And next thing you know, a couple thousand more people pour out of it was Irving Plaza, old Irving Plaza.
Yep.
And next thing I know, I got another 1,000 people beside me, and I went, fuck you, you fucking... I got a lot of police officers I like, so don't take this the wrong way, but they're like, fuck you, you fucking pigs. And next thing I know, I see the cops start looking scared, and they get in their cars and back up the street. Like, they leave us alone. They just go away. And I was like, what the hell just happened, you know? Airport Music Hall, I saw Guar. They're in there. Sly Menstru's cod piece slid off the side. Her vagina's out. She's breathing fire everywhere. Hot, naked girl. They're spraying blood on the ceiling. Tesca V, the Meat Men. And we talked about Agnostic Front, all those other people. They really inspired me, but it was kind of just following that genre of what I could do to keep it exciting. I also learned over the years that maybe I'm not the best musician, so... If I gave some eye candy, brought some strippers along.
Never heard.
Yeah, there's a like I said, I was showing your video today to my secretary at the office, and I was trying to explain to her. I was like, yeah, here's Tom. And it's showing like flashes of like just girls with their asses hanging out and doing something else. And she's just like, huh. And I go, yeah, that's, if you follow him on Instagram, this is how his life is. This is pretty much what it is. And she goes, huh, I can't wait to listen to the show.
But I feel like I feel like at that time too, I know when I was growing up, and I feel like everything changed because of like the internet and social media and stuff. But a lot of that feel with like fire breathers and like hot chicks and all that, like there was a lot of that going on in like Crusty Demons of Dirt and like those videos that were coming up. So like I was always drawn to like, I was like, where do we find that? Yeah. Because it isn't like now where you can follow somebody and get that shit all day long.
And you do that. You fucking blow fireballs.
Yeah, well, that's what we found that whether they loved or hated us, as long as they went home, they went away talking about us. They told their friend, like, hey, this fucking dude sucks. He did all this stuff on stage. Can't believe he did all this. Or they went, and they told their friends how awesome it was and described what they saw. As long as they went home and talked about us, we had achieved success.
Yeah.
We weren't forgotten. If they went home and did not talk about us and forgot about us, That sucked.
Well, I can tell you, and it works because I can tell you, like, I remember going, and I think I saw like Korn, and then Rammstein came, and I go, wow, like this is awesome. They're a German band. I love fucking German
That was so
stuff.
crazy when
and
they
I
came
remember,
out.
I still remember, I was like, man, I hear some of their stuff, and like I downloaded some of their stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying. I can't speak German, but I go, man, I like the beats are like fucking 80s beats, and I go, man, but there's something behind it. Like I think I'm gonna like it. And I just remember I saw it in fucking Continental Arena, and it was in New York. And I remember
You got to see them live?
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh my God, that was right, so awesome.
All the fucking dude, all the lights went out, and I was like, all right, like I can hear like the crazy synths, kicking in. And I was like, all right, here we go. All the lights went out, and then there's a guy on fire, and he's just sitting there screaming in German stuff, and I go, holy fucking shit, I'm gonna buy every one of their albums. That dude rolled around on fire, was throwing shit into the crowd. The whole show, everything's on fire. They're shooting shit at each other, and I was like, I have no idea one fucking thing they talked about. I don't know what they're saying, but I'm in.
You
I'm
cannot forget them.
I am in. And then when you see them on video, they're fucking around. They got the fake fucking dick and their pit, and I'm just like, these guys are fucking. They're having a party all the time.
Have either of you dove into like Rammstein? I've only ever heard
Yes.
Du Hast.
Are you
Is any
kidding
of their
me?
other music
I
good?
did. I have every one of their albums. You think I'm not joking? Dude, they have a video, which is amazing. I showed it to my boss, and he just goes, oh, I should probably watch this. So they have that song called Pussy that came out a couple years ago. So, and he sings in English. So he can sing some songs in English. So he sings a song about pussy and all this stuff. Well, they came out with a video. Well, in Germany, they don't have the same kind of things that we have here.
No.
So literally the video, they're fucking girls in the video.
Oh my God.
So he's singing, and he's fucking singing and just pounding away, and I'm like, this is the best video I've ever seen in my life. And it's all these models, and it's literally them just doing weird shit. But yeah, they legitimately, like, they do crazy shit. They just put out a new album that was, it's amazing. Like the video they put out was crazy. All these people were like, I don't know what they're trying to get across. So then that people like had it like translated. It's an awesome. I forget the name of the song, but it's like a fucking opera. Yeah. They got all these. They're fucking sick.
They have a whole new tour they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it may have sold out like right away or something.
Yeah, dude. Their new stuff it's pretty good. They're just awesome dudes.
Yeah.
They're fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
I mean, they're complete fucking weirdos. And the lead singer like looks like he's fucking 50 for the last 20 some years. Like he's just. But when you watch like interviews and stuff, and they'll interview him, and like the guitarist talks about how he started, and it's just really interesting. Like they just taught themselves. I mean, they know English and stuff over there, but he taught himself like English culture, and it was like we quickly learned that we're not the same as you guys, which is why we're famous. And I was like, yeah, they're fucking weird. But yeah, their new album's fucking. It's yeah.
Did you feel like for what you guys put on as a stage presence, like what did it start as until it grew into what it is now? Or did it kind of just stay the same? Or did it get to a point where you're like, okay, this is what we want to do with like fire and the strippers and just girls and dancing and like, because it's a pretty.
So all that sounds like a party, which is you've somehow tapped into the heartbeat of men, saying, you know what? If I want to go see a show, I want to see fucking girls with no clothes on or close to it. I want to see people fucking breathing fire. I want to have dudes beating the shit out of each other. I want to see weird, like that's pretty much.
Yeah, because do you have wrestling going on at the same time too?
That's one of the bands I work with. Well, two of the bands I work with. Eat the Turnbuckle, who's currently on hiatus. Really hope that comes back. Bad Luck 13 I work with though, and we do deathmatch wrestling.
Yeah.
So that video that you put out, that was a YouTube video. The best is the guy just has blood on her face, and he goes, "I got stabbed," and I'm not very happy about it. And I'm like, I'm not going to that show.
That's Bad Luck 13. I have some other bands that aren't technically my band. I just work with, and I actually say with Bad Luck 13, I just do this thing called the Goon. I'm essentially a hype man.
Yeah.
I have to go to rehearsal. If I can't make the show, no big deal. They're a little bummed, but no big deal. Nobody's mad at me. If I make the show, it's awesome. I get to jump on stage, have all the frills of being in a band without any of the responsibility. But, you know, I bring a service. Now, it was one thing I realized, too, with being around different people. Everyone comes backstage and they want you to hook their band up or do this or do that. And I realized the best way to get out there and do stuff if you want to do this is to be valuable.
Yeah.
And if you make yourself valuable, people are like, well, why don't you come along with us? And we got space for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's certain things I like it. if I like what you're doing, I might volunteer some time and come help you out.
Yeah.
And I can usually help increase your show a little bit. I got some skills.
Now with everything we're going over and like the band and everything and where you're at now, and then you kind of find a role over at One Center Square, like how did you get involved over there? Because now you're back, I would say, in music as much as you were before.
Well, not quite. I'm still not really playing that much. I do want to get back out on tour, whether it's with El Destructo or one of the other bands I work with. There's another band, Shat, I work with, which is a whole other topic, with the infamous Jeff Wood.
Is that the guy that you call out constantly?
Yeah, he was the original.
By the way, you are clearly a better drummer. Just so you're saying. Just so you're saying, I've watched every single video, and you're clearly a better drummer.
Now, before we go any further, I don't know who he is, and I don't know what is the thing with you calling him out. But if you follow your social media on Facebook or any of it, you're constantly telling Jeff.
So, but here's the thing: we're really, and I advise you guys to follow you on Instagram. We're really skimming over a lot of things.
I know.
So you also have the you go skiing or snowboarding with just a sock on your cock and a little thing.
Well, or sock.
Yes, there's a lot of things, and then skydiving.
Well, the skydiving I want to get into.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are going on, but anyway, yeah. So you make the videos, basically just calling out Jeff Wood all the time.
Yeah, we have a little thing.
How do you know Jeff?
I met him through music. There was a guy, Nardichon from Atlantic Records, he worked for at the time. Tell me about this band, Shat, probably the perfect brother-sister band for El Destructo. Jeff Wood was the original bass player of Dillinger Escape Plan. He got shot in the head while going to music school out in L.A.
What?
Yeah, it was a gang war. Just by chance, Jeff happened to drive down the street in a white van. Apparently a rival gang had used a white van earlier, so the gang that was on that street thought it was the rival gang coming back, and they shot the roof, I believe, with an AK. One of the bullets hit the roof, came through the roof, shrapnel hit Jeff in the head. And luckily it's shrapnel. That's the only reason he's still alive. He was in a coma for weeks, had to learn how to speak, write, tie his shoes all over again. He said, and of course, Dillinger Escape Plan had to keep moving at the time, so they replaced him. They say it did something to his brain, like that reptilian brain, the primal stuff, eat, sleep, and sex. That's all he could think about. So he started this band, Shat, which is basically every song's about sex in some way. And it's almost like a G.G. Allen type thing. But Jeff Wood is very talented. So it's G.G. Allen type stuff with this awesome vocalist, very talented musicians. Jeff is a very talented musician. So it's just awesome music with the most messed up lyrics that you could think of. And then Evil Jared from the Bloodhound Gang, I kept hearing about this band, Shat. My bass player said something about him, and one of my best friends, Evil Jared from the Bloodhound Gang, was playing with Shat, one of his side projects, Bloodfart. He said, hey, we're playing with this band, Shat. So I'm like, I got to go check out this band, Shat. So I go along with Evil Jared to help his band at this show. It was in Philadelphia. And Jared plays, and this band, Shat, comes out. Dudes in dildos, masks, diapers. And they start playing, and Jared and I both looked at each other like, "Whoa, this dude just rocked our doors off, man! Like, just knocked our dick in the dirt. Like, this guy is awesome. Like, the presentation, that shock value. Like, whether you hated it or whatever, like, and we've seen a lot, and we're just like, what the fuck is going on right now? This just shocked us. And of course, we're like, we got to get to know these guys. So when they were done, we exchanged numbers and we talked a bit, and then we started doing shows together, and we really bonded pretty well, and we worked together well, and that's how it all started. So we egg each other on, and I never learned to play an instrument, so I want to increase my value to the musical community, and drums are the most needed, one of the most difficult things to play too, and no one realizes how important the drummer is. The whole band could suck. If the drummer's good, you'll still be okay. Yeah. The whole band could be awesome. If your drummer sucks, you're going to suck. The drummer knows this. No one else knows this, and that's why a lot of drummers are assholes. Carry all that equipment. You're hidden back there. No glory. So I've been learning to play the drums. Can't say I play drums yet, but I'm getting close. So we egg each other on, who can be the worst at playing drums. And we got a little antics and skits we do, and we just keep trying to one-up each other. But it's a good little rivalry to have because we push each other to do better.
What happened? I don't know if you can tell. What happened to Bloodhound Gang?
Because
they got hot for a minute. that everybody was like, wow, look at this band. And then nothing.
Well, the band, technically they're still together. It's not like they broke up. They still get huge offers in Europe for huge festivals, huge money. Jimmy Pop, the singer, he's very reclusive. Does not like to leave his house very much. For whatever reason, I mean, he doesn't really miss being on stage, I guess. You know, I can't really get an answer out of him on that, but I think maybe sometimes too Jared scares him because they toured Russia. And it was one of the last tours they did. And Evil Jared can get very carried away. So Evil Jared wipes his ass with the Russian flag.
That'll put a damper.
You could YouTube this. I think it might have been the Ukraine when he did it, and then they went to Russia. Putin found out, and they almost didn't make it out of Russia. It was a big, huge fight at the airport. They got on the plane. To this day, if Jared goes back to Russia, he'll be arrested. And I think, here's Jimmy Pop. He's like, I'm going to die in a Siberian prison because I go on tour with Evil Jared the Bloodhound.
Yeah, that could have went south.
Yeah. I really hope they come back out there. Awesome. Just a good time, good vibe, good music.
Yeah, I always liked them.
Never took themselves too seriously. And the stuff Jimmy would talk about is just, some of the stuff he says is so off the wall. He has tact the way he says it, skillful.
You got to watch being in those other countries fucking around.
Yeah, it dawned on me in Norway. Evil Jared and I got into a fight with some Somalians in Norway.
What a great story. Please tell it.
It was all Alex Anderson's fault from West Coast Customs. He did a lot of behind-the-scenes work at MTV and stuff. But we were over there doing a little show of a cheesy rider thing. We went from Germany into Norway, riding these little, basically mopeds that look like the old school Dennis Hopper Easy Rider. They're like custom choppers, but they were basically mopeds. Ends in Tønsberg, Norway. Turbo Negro was playing Castle Mountain. It's just where the whole show ended. Well, these Somalian dudes, I guess, Alex started kind of a fight with them. When I say Somalians, I swear these dudes were Olympians. They were specimens. And we end up in a fight with them, long story short. Luckily, they didn't know how to fight as well as us. But they were tough. So next thing I know, I got one guy rear naked choke, using him as a body shield, and I'm keep kicking another guy away, waiting for him to go out. And I hear this, "Let him go." And it's a female voice. I'm like, what? And I look over, and it's a female police officer. And mind you, I thought this guy had been done once or twice, and I'd let go of him only to have him come back and punch. He broke my nose, Tough dude. So I'm like, I ain't let him go this time until he's out cold. And I just hear this wall of noise, "Let him go." And I look over, and there's like 15 big dude police officers like in a line. Apparently we were all big guys fighting right in the town square there. So they waited till they had enough police officers to even intervene.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but no pepper spray, no nightstick, no nothing. Let him go. So we all stopped fighting. The Somalian dudes are looking, and we're looking. We're just like, oh, this is bad. So the police are, they look at us, and they're just like, so tell us what happened. You want us to arrest them? Now, mind you, we had somewhat started the fight. So at this point, we're kind of feeling bad. And I look over, and the Somalian dudes, we're all bloodied. They're bloodied. They knew they got beat up and stuff. And now they're just like, oh, our black asses are going to jail. And I look at him, I give him a peace sign like this, and it's literally Saturday night. I'm like, I don't know, man. We're drunk. I think they've been drinking. I'm not sure what happened. All I know is we just started fighting. I'm cool with it if they're cool with it. So police officers go back, and they huddle for a moment, and they come back, and now they're pissed off looking at me. And they look at Jared, and Jared told them the same thing. And they look at us, and they're like, here's how this is going to work. You and them are now banned from Tønsberg city limits for 48 hours. If we see you here, you will be arrested. You must go now. And we're just like, we looked at each other like, are they kidding? And they were like, no, we really had to leave. So we left. And it dawned on me, though, luckily we're in Norway, very liberal, tolerant country. But here I am 3,000 miles away. It's not like, let me call Jesse to bail me out of jail. Let me call my attorney. It's whatever country I'm in, it's their law of the land, and I could have been sitting there for a very long time.
Oh my God, they make movies about that stuff where the people are just stuck over there.
Yeah,
you could definitely get caught up in some shit.
Yeah.
Jamie from Hatebreed was telling the story. I listened to his podcast sometime, and he was talking about I think it was in Ukraine or something, and they had this big fucking riot, and there was a problem at the airport, and it got so bad that they weren't know if they were going to be able to leave. They ended up leaving all their equipment. They were like, we found a fucking charter. We left the fucking area. We left from a different airport. But it gets hairy. It's like, we don't realize how well we have it, like how things are. They're like, dude, we weren't going to be able to leave, and we might go to prison because of some shit. Someone, the drummer, had drugs or something on him, and he was like, from some other band, and he was like, they were coming after us all. And he's like, we just fucking left all of our shit and just left.
Yeah, if you're in the wrong country, you violate their law. I mean,
Dude, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
How did you get in over at One Center Square?
That's another funny story. I was actually back in the day when it was.
Or like I was in a knife fight in Prague.
I was originally banned from there.
Well, they just opened a couple years ago, correct?
Well, they had drinkies there for a while, and got into a little thing. There's a girl I was with. She threw some bottles over the bar.
Who doesn't get into a thing at Drinkies, first of all? Everybody does. It's Drinkies.
It was bad.
It's where you go to get in trouble.
She started this big fight that I kind of just brawled my way out the door and left, but it was bad. And they were pretty mad at me. And I guess I wasn't really so much mad at them, but rightfully the owners were mad at me. And it was probably about an 8-year period I was banned. Well, they opened One Center Square, and they wanted to be a music venue, and they were aware. We kind of squashed our differences a bit up at Croc Rock with Joe Clark when I was working up there with him. So Croc Rock was gone, and
when you were working at Croc Rock, were you helping book the shows?
Yes and no. Most of the big national shows we did at Croc Rock, I booked.
Yeah.
I would get bands I wanted to play with and arrange the booking. Joe actually did the hands-on, or Stan would do it. But I arranged all that stuff, and then it was weird because I just realized that catching crowd surfers and stuff, being that bouncer at a concert like that, it's actually a pretty awesome thing. It's actually a very important thing I never quite realized, because I've been out in the crowd, had a asshole bouncer that you wanted to beat up, and it starts a riot, and I've been on stage having an asshole bouncer beating up my fans. That sucks too. So I never quite realized though how that bouncer is the go-between between the crowd and the band, and he can make it awesome for everybody, or he can make it horrible. And I just got into moonlighting as that gig basically for fun, but realizing like you have a lot of influence. You're kind of a behind the scenes guy for the show, and you have a lot of influence on the actual outcome of the show for the crowd and the band. But a lot of booking contacts and different stuff, from doing all that and just being in music for so long. So Josh Groman, Heritage Tattoo, now works with me at Pleasure and Pain. He was friends with Greg and Billy. Greg Milham and Billy Cornish, that own One Center Square. They wanted to be a music venue, so they told Josh, like, hey, let's get Waltemyer in here. Tell him, it's cool. We're over the differences and everything. We really want him in here to help us the way he, worked up at Croc Rock. We're not quite sure what we're doing with this music venue. We know how to run a dance club, but we want to do the music venue. So I went in, we made up, and turns out those guys are actually really awesome.
Yeah.
We laugh about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was banned. Greg literally, I wasn't stupid. I brawled my way to the door, and once I was out the door, I was gone, because I knew they had every bouncer they could get coming my way.
Yeah.
Greg's like, I remember yelling at you, trying to entice you to come back, and you were just flipping me off and steadily walking away.
No thanks,
because
bud.
there used to be some shit at Croc Rock. There used to be some shit they would pull. So, yeah, I know how that works.
Yeah, if you go into a club and you're just one or two dudes and you start a fight with the bouncers, you better just if they got any kind of squad there as far as bouncers, you better just get out of there as quickly as possible.
Do you think that shit still goes on now? I remember when I was 21, and if you did some dumb shit, like, you could get fucked up by bouncers. I know people got taken outside, and my buddy was, I'll never forget the story. They were going to, like, Punta Cana or somewhere, and they were, like, in their 20s, and they're just like, we're going to get laid, we're going to the beach. So they go out drinking in Stroudsburg or some shit, and they get thrown out. And my buddy tells the bouncer, fuck you. So he throws him out, and while he trips, and the bouncer grabs him, and he grades his face into the ground. And his whole face was hamburger. So for a week, they go on vacation to meet and hang out with all these chicks, and his whole face is a giant raspberry.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know if that shit goes on, and I'm sure it does, but like, I feel like everything now is videotaped. Everything now is like, you're fucking going to jail. Like, even if you're a total fucking asshole, it's a lawsuit and that shit.
Well, see, that's part of it. And the whole airport music hall thing. Brian from Bear Security, they ran the security airport music hall. Now, Brian works over at the State Theater across from my tattoo shop. Brian and I stand there and laugh about how every weekend we both would go to the show being like, we're going to get into a good brawl. And we both looked forward to it. We laugh about how we used to beat the hell out of each other. But we're a different genre. We'd beat one another up, and we weren't calling the police. We weren't like, hey, pull the video camera. I'm calling my lawyer. I'm going to sue this place.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah, we were like, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to beat him up next week. And, it wasn't, we were just like that. But nowadays, the moment you do that, somebody wants to sue you. And,
it is. Yeah, well, I can tell you, before, Croc's not there anymore. So about 2 years before they got...
Rest in power, Croc Rock.
Yeah. Before they closed their doors, I remember my office used to be right next to Croc Rock. So my parking lot matched up to theirs. So when there was shows, like, I was there because my parking lot was right there. But I remember it was a all-day supposed punk fest. But it wasn't. It was just whiny fucking 80-pound fucking kids just crying about their whatever. Yeah. And I was like, ugh. So I remember going down the alley, like, I got to get to my office. The one side was closed. They blocked it off and parked all the shit. So I had to go down the alley right next to the side doors. So I start going down the alley really slow. Some fucking dude goes out, like, walks into my Jeep and falls the fuck down on the road, is going, oh my God, you hit me. I got on my Jeep and I'm like, I know I didn't hit him. So my response is, you motherfucker, don't touch my fucking Jeep. All these fucking whiny emo fucking kids, like, yo, we got it on camera. Like, we're calling the cops. We're going to sue you. And I'm like, oh, no, please, I'll stay right here. I go, I will stay right here. And I knew the security was there. And they were just like, just go, dude. Just go. And I was like, no, I really want these kids to, like, it got bad. Like, because he was just trying to do shit. And that's all that was there. It was just dumb shit.
Yeah, it's bad these days. I mean, these kids, half of them have no idea what it's like to get hit in the face.
Oh, no.
And they do get hit in the face, they want to cry, they want to call the police, they want to get their mommy and daddy's lawyer, and, it's sad.
Yeah, who came up with that famous quote? Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the fucking face.
Tyson.
Yeah, it's true. These kids think, like, they're all, like, they talk shit, and, like, it was just one of those emo concerts, and you're like, everybody's already like, I hate my parents. And they have
like
all
Third Eye Blind.
eyeshadow and all this stuff, and it's like,
hey, I used to wear eyeshadow.
Yeah, but
how dare you?
Not in the same way. Listen,
I did it just so people would stop screaming, hey, faggot. I'd be like, you ever get your ass beat? Now, mind you, I'm not gay, but I'd be like, you ever get your ass beat by a faggot? But then we get this, oh, God. And I'd be like, today's your lucky day.
But you wore it in a cool manner.
Yeah, they're wearing it. Man.
No, and it's like, dude, you have no idea. Like, you talk shit. You guys have no idea.
And they weigh like 90 pounds.
Yeah. But it was
like...
so funny. I was losing my shit, and like the whole rest of the day I was like, I'm gonna fight somebody. Like, that dude literally tried to like pull some fake, like, you hit me with your, and I was like, and I'm like running, like, shit's running through my head. I'm like, can I really injure someone by going 5 miles an hour? Like, I'm like, is that even possible? Would I be able to break a bow? And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't even give a fuck. Like, I didn't hit anybody.
Now, had that been us back in the day, we would have had that little guy out there. You would have bumped him. He would have distracted you. As soon as you got out of your Jeep with the keys in running, we would have jumped in and drove off in your Jeep. Sucker.
No one had cameras.
Yeah, no, it was different back then.
I feel like One Center Square, like, that whole idea and everything, it seems like it's taking off.
Yeah, it's there's been a lot of awesome shows there. It's happened.
I saw they had CKY come in, and I was right at the age when, like, that whole CKY Jackass shit came in. Like, I was a huge part of my life, like, growing up on Jackass and all that shit, and BAM and all that stuff. All that was going on. Like, nothing like that was going on at the time. No. So it's like, I always liked CKY, and then when I saw they were coming to the area, I was like, I'm like, they're doing some cool stuff. And then I think you told me you were working over there helping with booking and stuff. So how's all that been going?
I help a little bit with booking. A lot of it is just kind of, even with booking, they didn't understand there's a regional thing. And there's Stan from Concerts East. He kind of has the area on lockdown. So you were talking about Hatebreed. Yeah. There's certain bands, and that's Stan did most of the shows, the big shows over at Croc Rock with Joe Clark. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were the ones that made it happen. But there's a regional thing with booking, and no matter how much money you have or whatever, you're just not going to get certain bands unless you have the right booking agent to put it together for you. And this is Stan's region. And that was the thing. They didn't really realize. They just thought, hey, we got money. We're going to open this awesome club, and we're going to book these bands. So there was a huge learning curve. And
how does that work then? Is that so? Like if they have Stan or anybody in that fact, and then those people have connections to, like they have connections to like the different managers of the different bands, and then they get brought in to book the show.
Well, see, it's like this. Say, even when we put together a CD release party with the Bloodhound Gang at Croc Rock, I'm friends with the Bloodhound Gang, friends with Joe Clark, arranged the whole show. I get a phone call with Stan. Tom, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you got the Bloodhound Gang at Croc Rock. I'm like, yeah, we're having a CD release party, Stan. He goes, well, it's one of my bands and it's my region. And I'm like, huh?
So then does he get paid for booking that?
I think we paid Stan like $20,000 or something out of that.
So it's like I'm gonna say it's like pro wrestling. Like back in the day, pro wrestling, you had your area, and you ran shit. If somebody tried to do something in your area, they used to get fucking beat up, or shit would get shut down.
Jared caught his manager, and they're booking guy, and they're like, well, we can't really screw him over because it makes sense because they've been doing business for so long, and if it's it's a good thing. Why are you going to take this one show with this guy you really don't know and ruin what you got going on, and let them take over? But it's not just one venue either. Stan had different venues, so it's a good thing. He's working that area, so he's got Bloodhound Gang's management and booking, and he books this whole region. He'll get them 4 or 5 shows in this region.
And then they make a specific amount of money, and then he gets cut out of that money?
Yeah, percentage. But the thing is, too, when they're booking a tour, they only need to deal with so many people. They only need to book 200 shows. They only need
with
to
200 different people.
Yeah, they only need to have maybe a few dozen people to put the whole thing together.
So if a guy does the East Coast, you would call the East Coast guy and say, yo, we're coming over. And you go, all right, I'm going to book, say, Philly, New York, a couple places in Jersey.
Yeah, maybe Pittsburgh.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so there's one guy that has the main connection for all of that.
Yeah, he knows the clubs, he knows the bands, and it's just been that way for a while. And I'd say it's kind of a love-hate thing with me. I mean, I see the fundamental with it. The people I've worked with, it's a good thing in a way because the wrong people get their hands on it.
They can fuck it up. But the bad thing is there's a lot of bands that won't be here.
Well, that's the thing. Say with One Center Square. Now, I don't know if I should I'm not going to keep mentioning that name, but there's another venue, Sherman Theater, and it's in a way we might be stealing some of their thunder. Now, Sherman Theater can hold more people, I believe. So it's like they might not want us to have a certain band, and if that booking guy that we need to get, say, Hatebreed,
is booking at Sherman, they're not going to book at One Center Square. I didn't know how all that shit worked.
Yeah, because we're too close.
Yeah.
And now he's been working with them for a while, so he doesn't want to screw them over because they have a good thing. I mean, hey, you and I are friends. We're making good money. Why are you going to give him a show?
Yeah.
Why are you going to screw me over?
We're already making money.
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to...
Well, you're going to let him take a bite of our apple for you.
Yeah.
So
but then they should be able to just go, hey, man, like, I kind of like playing in that area, like in the Valley. Or are there any other places we could play? And then that dude should be able to reach out and be, yo, guys, I want to bring you this band. Like, that's how it should work. As a fan, that's how I would want it to work.
These contracts you sign, yes. And it's not, even that CD release party with the Bloodhound Gang, there's a contract with their booking agent.
But they're local.
They're local,
so that's the local. That was the local fucking venue.
But there's a contract with their booking agent that the show's got to happen. And once you sign those contracts, that booking agent takes care of all this for you.
Yeah.
Well, you can just cut him out this one time. And that makes sense, though, too, because if there's a way you could cut him out that one time, you might start cutting him out too much.
Yeah.
And you might screw something up for him. And he's done so much hard work for you.
Yeah. So then the position that One Center Square would be in is that you have to now start booking stuff that doesn't come to the Sherman Theater and start really getting through bands and being like, what's going to work here?
Yes, exactly. We have to.
Which is cool to an extent because it's bringing new music to the Valley, but it's probably also difficult because there's probably a plethora of people that are already listed to play at other places.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I'd love to get Hatebreed in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to do Hatebreed with Bad Luck 13 and stuff. We cannot get Hatebreed in there.
I've seen Hatebreed 5 times, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, they're awesome.
I love the lyrics. I love everything about it.
It just makes.
And he's a cool dude. I met him because when he used to play at Croc, they would always go and they would hang, Joe, and it's like, hey, you want to meet the band? Like, yeah, I'll meet them. And then you meet them, and then it was just like, I talked to them, and they were like, they would go over to the pizza place across the street. And I go, yo, man, why aren't you eating this? That? And he's like, nah. I was like, nah. So they go. So then when I go over there, that pizza dude would call me because I'm friends with him. And he was like, yo, man, Hatebreed's here. And he's like, they sent their people over to get hoagies. He's like, do you want to deliver it? And I go, yo, they're not going to let me. They're not going to let me deliver it. But I'll go along. But that's how I met them. Yeah, they're fucking cool dudes. They're down-dozers.
Jamie's small dude, though.
Oh,
right?
he's tiny little dude. He trains, man. He trains jiu-jitsu.
He's good.
He's got people on the road. He trains constantly. My fucking bachelor party, they were like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to see Hatebreed. So my bachelor party, we went to New York, and I saw Hatebreed and Typo Negative. And everybody at my thing was like, who? Like, I don't want to watch. And I was like, just shut the fuck up and go. Like, everybody's in hip-hop, and like, just go. But the people that went loved it.
That's cool. You had Typo Negative because.
Well, I met him. Well, that's a long story. We'll talk about. But I met Peter Steele in Pike County in court.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I want to hear that story.
Yeah, I met him in court. Oh, yeah, because he had a house up there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, before he passed. But yeah, I met him, and I met his manager, and they pulled me over, and I talked to him. It's weird because Pike County is a small little, and when you got a guy who's like fucking that tall, and he's got full sleeve fucking tattoos and jet black hair, he tends to stand out a little bit. Yeah. I'll tell you about that later. Yeah, we talked about it at the show before, but yeah, he was an awesome dude too. He was really fucking down to earth.
As I said,
but he was drunk at my show, so I yelled at him. And the manager was like, I was like, yo, man, it was my bachelor party. I know you didn't know that, but you like forgot a lot of the words. And he just goes, yeah, I don't remember that show. And I go, yeah, you drank a lot of wine, like a lot of wine. And he goes, and here we are. And he's in court for a DUI. Yeah. Oh no, he was a big drinker.
I think a lot of bands, including myself, you've had that moment when you're kind of on stage and you're just like, where am I right now? What song are we playing?
Oh, no, he was bad. I mean, it was bad.
I've been there. You're talking about CKY, Chad, and those guys.
Yeah, how was that working? I mean, when that came around, were you working the show?
Actually, we played with them. I was the one that brought them to Croc Rock. I brought CKY to Croc Rock. Kind of worked with Bam and those guys a little bit here and there. Crossed paths with them. I was the one that brought them to Croc Rock, but I remember they got so drunk, I don't even think the lyrics, I don't know what songs they played. Yeah. The crowd didn't seem to care. There was so much hype. And that's actually almost a eureka moment, too. It was still somewhat in my early days. And I realized, too, that it was just the energy, because even though they were screwing up their songs, being drunk and everything, the energy was there in the presentation. It wasn't like, up until then, it was almost like if I screwed up a song, it was almost like you froze and just got this panic, like, oh, we almost need to start over, or like, everyone knows that's a screw up. Whereas, like, I realize it's like everyone screws up. You have these things that don't go right, and you just, it's almost like I'm meant to do that, and you just keep going. As long as you have that energy and that presentation, you still make the crowd go nuts. Halftime, the crowd might be just as drunk and not even realize.
They don't know. I saw Fear Factory at Croc. And they were playing the song, and I was just like, in my head, like, I know it sounded different. See, that's what sucks, because I went to school for music. Yeah. So now
you're one of those guys.
Yeah, I don't watch shows the same. So people, like, when I go to shows, they're like, you don't really, like, do anything. I listen to the show, and then I stare at all the electronics so that I can tell what they're doing. And I'm really into the music, so I was like, it sounds different. So then I know the sound guy that was there, which, by the way, I was like, your sound's way the fuck off. Like, I used to always tell him, like, your shit's off. Like, bad. Like, sometimes it'd go in, like, I saw Mudvayne there. Yeah. I had no idea what the fuck he was saying. It was so fucking bad. I was like, yo, it's off. Like, really bad. Like, I don't know what you're hearing, but no one else hears it that way. And it was bad. But in there, and then finally I was there, and he was just, like, sitting there, and we were talking. And I looked, and I told my friend, and I go, yo, he doesn't even have that channel panned up. Like, he doesn't have it potted up. We're missing part of the song, and they're like, no. I was like, yo, we're missing part. I know the song. And
whatever's on that channel,
yeah, and there it is. And you
can
see the lights bouncing, and I see the fader all the way down. I'm like, that motherfucker doesn't have it potted up. Like, he's not right. But that's why, it's weird. Like, I like going to concerts, but I don't like get into it like I did now that I know what's happening.
It's almost what I was saying earlier. Like, I regret almost in a way becoming involved in music, because now it's not just the sound I hear, this feeling. It's like you're
when I hear fuck ups. Yeah, so I'll listen to CDs. I'll hear CDs and go, Oh, I can hear where you cut your song. Yeah. I can hear where they cut it and put it back together. Yeah. Like, it broke my heart. Like, the first Alice in Chains album, I can listen to that and go, oh my God, this is really bad. Like, I can hear everything.
28 channels going. Yeah, how they do that live.
Dude, but I'm like, I can hear it every time you guys fuck up. And it's disheartening.
Yeah.
But, that makes it better too sometimes. Because then I know, like, I'll listen, like, oh, this band's great. No, and they fucking suck. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, Fear Factory. It's a fucking orchestra. Yeah. Those motherfuckers have so much shit going on. They're kicking off melodies. They're doing all stuff. Bands don't do that anymore. No. They don't do that. So there's bands like that are good, but there's a lot of music sucks nowadays.
Yeah, everything's changed a lot. I mean, I like that One Center Square's bringing different stuff in, but I didn't know.
I saw you Green Jelly too.
Well, Bill Green Jelly is one of the founding members of Tool.
Yes,
they're playing this weekend. Somewhat local. Green Jelly's playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I go, that's fucking awesome, dude. They were great.
Yeah,
I remember.
That's what I'm saying is it's so. It's cool that it sucks that
you hip hop.
It sucks that they're pitted to.
Who did that? Did you bring that in?
It was what?
Did you have a hip? Yeah.
No.
It was Naughty by Nature.
No, that was I forget who brought that in. I bring more of the just kind of different. I did bring Slain in. I love Slain.
Yes. Oh no, I know.
Yeah,
no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, yeah, dude, he's awesome.
I like all kinds of genres. Yeah, I love Slain. So yeah, I brought him in there. But yeah, I don't know. There's I like punk rock and hardcore more, so I focus more on that and just kind of music I actually like. And I don't want to be a booking guy, so what I try to do is just kind of make connections.
Yeah.
And
see where it goes after that.
Pass the ball.
But I mean, I'm glad we have that in the area. I think that, like, to have that in Easton and for that to do that, and like when I saw CKY and Naughty by Nature and Slain and all that, and now seeing what their back's against, I mean, it's going to end up bringing cool stuff here that's never been here.
It's an awesome venue. Just about everyone that plays there is just, they love the place. I mean, the way it's set up, it's not like Croc Rock where it was an old building turned into a music venue. I mean, the building's been there forever, but when they rebuilt the place into One Center Square,
they made it a music venue.
Yes.
It wasn't an afterthought.
Backstage rooms, the stairs come right down to the back of the stage.
I want to check it out. I want to have them on the show.
Well, that's like Wind Creek, and it used to be the Sands. When they built that venue,
still say the Sands.
The first how many months bands were playing there and it sounded like complete shit because you didn't think of it acoustically.
Yeah,
you just put a fucking square room and go, why doesn't it sound good?
Yeah. That's a challenge with a big square room like that, yeah.
What, at the Sands?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So now you can see they added all the acoustic panels. They tried to fill in the corners to
that. You're directing stuff in rooms like that. I mean, what's that room hold? 4,000 or 5,000, I think.
It holds a lot. It depends on how they have it work. Yeah, but it depends on how they have it set up. Sometimes you put chairs.
The best thing that the Sands brought was like real comedy to the area, like big national acts and shit. Yeah,
because we have wisecrackers. You'd have one guy come maybe.
Yeah.
Every so often.
Gallagher's coming to One Center Square.
Oh, somebody was telling.
I got to smoke weed with Gallagher.
Well, Andy was supposed to open for him with Chris Freed.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
two of the friends of the show were supposed to open for him, and they got there, and he was playing in Northampton, and he just went on, and then they were like, "Yo, like what the fuck?" And then they said he went into like 45 minutes of just horse shit, and then he just goes, fuck it, we're getting into it." Then he goes into his whole show, and then the owner was like, he trashed the place with his whole act, and then he was like, "I'm done," and the owner's like, "I'm not fucking paying you." He's like, "You didn't fucking do anything we were supposed to," and then he goes up to Chris and Andy and was like, "Go," and they're like, "Wait, so we now have to follow Gallagher in this mess?" So they're like, so they come out and it's just they're standing in watermelons and fucking bullshit, and they're just like, "So now I guess we're gonna do our time." Yeah, and they said he just bounced,
dude. Because I tell you what, I saw Nick DiPaolo at the Steel Stacks, and it was strange because Nick DiPaolo is fucking hilarious, but 2 weeks before that, Bernie had a fucking rally, had a speech there. Like he went out and did like a town square thing. Yeah. So he starts telling jokes, and there's people going, "Oh," and he's going, "Oh, fucking come on!" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is a weird area to play," but it was just awkward. He goes, "Wow, this is weird. Like the stage is just little, like maybe a foot off the ground." And he goes, "Wow, this is weird. I got fucking a murder scene behind me, and it's got all like the old blast furnace stuff." And he's going, "This is a pretty shitty booking." It's we went there. And the first time we went, we waited and waited and waited, and they came out and they were like, "What's his name? Carell's older brother or cousin was there doing security.
Jason Corral, yeah.
And he was there, and he comes out, and he's like, hey, guys, we're waiting. It was plane trouble. He says he is coming. So 2 hours of everybody waiting there, and it was packed. And they're like, we have to cancel, and we're going to postpone the show. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is bad. So then when he came back, he was just like, yeah, sorry, man. He's like, I offered to push the show, but your people decided not to start late. And I'm like, oh. And it's like, I quickly realized, like, yeah, they are as shitty as I thought they were. It's not a good place to do comedy.
That's funny because that was one of the things Gallagher and I talked about. Like, we smoked.
Well, first
weed.
of all, what's it like getting high with Gallagher?
I was a little kid watching him on HBO.
Yeah, I remember, but that was
11,
the thing
12 years
back
old.
then. Like
I still remember an animated slamming the fucking thing, like really getting into
dude,
it. Like
I remember my parents being like,
Sledge-o-matic.
yeah, like that was on
People covered
HBO.
in plastic,
And
yeah.
I remember my parents being like, because HBO was so big back then, but like we'd have family movie time where like it would be like we were allowed to watch our, like I remember the Terminator. My mom's going, close their eyes, and then my dad's going, they don't know what's going on. But
yes, I do.
I mean, but it was awesome because it was cool. Like I look back on it now, and my dad was my age, and he's just like, yeah, let them watch it. Like, you know, and then my mom would be like, cover their eyes. My mom would be like, my dad would be like, okay, and then we'd just move our heads.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing, HBO. But I still remember. I had no clue what comedy was. I didn't know why anyone were laughing, but there was this crazy fucking hippie up there smashing shit. And I would be like, when's he going to smash it? When's he going to smash it? But it was like, and then for him to be that big, and then now he's still, but then he was on Stern, and there was all that crazy shit where his brother was like stealing his act and going around and doing all that. But the fact that guy's still doing shit's nuts. And you got to smoke weed with him. What happened?
Well, that was the thing.
He started smashing shit. Go on.
Well, he performed at Croc Rock, and I guess he's kind of making a comeback a bit. I guess he had some heart problems and his career problems. So he kind of had a pinnacle of his career, and he hit a low point. He almost wanted to retire, but then he realized he misses it. And this is all stuff we talked about. You know, how do you just stop doing what you love doing and do nothing? So he's back out there. And of course, he was an icon when I was a kid, like you said. He was just he's up there smashing stuff. You know,
he had. I remember. Do you remember? Like, what was it? The second HBO thing where they had the giant couch, but it was a trampoline.
Yeah, you're a kid. And you're like, how is he doing
that?
Yeah.
So all the little magic tricks he had.
Yeah.
So I got worried that he may want to smoke some weed. Now, I happened to have some good weed on me, so I was like, "Are you kidding? He wants to smoke weed?" And I was like, "Yeah." So anyway, I go up there and sit down next to him. I'm like, I heard you might want to smoke some marijuana. And he's like, that would be nice. He's like, I got to schmooze a few people, meet and greet. He's like, but give me 10, 15 minutes and we'll sit down and smoke. So he does all these meet and greets with people, and we sit there and we smoke this joint. And we just start talking about performing, what you were saying about that comedian, and how, you know, different places, you might be in an urban place or you might be in a rural place, and you can't crack the same jokes in a city. You can't crack the same jokes in New York City. You might crack out here at Penn's Peak somewhere out in the country. You know, hillbilly joke, you know, it's not going to go over the same. And that comedian wasn't really reading that. And Gallagher and I were just sitting there talking about this from town to town, how you got to read the crowd. Maybe it's a weather thing, time of year.
Yep.
Maybe it's a national, September 11th happened. You're not going to make boom jokes. Thing blown up after September 11th. So as a performer, you have to have this touchy-feely thing because it's never the same formula, and you got to read the crowd, and it's horrifying when you're on stage and you realize you're losing the crowd.
But that's why I like Nick DiPaolo, because he doesn't fucking care. So he was talking about rape, like some kind of, like it was like a rape joke, or not like necessarily rape, but like something bad. And then he was talking about how he hates his wife. The one girl goes, "Oh," and he goes, "Shut up." He's like, I married her. You didn't fucking marry her. And he just goes like attacks the crowd. So like half the crowd was laughing, and the older crowd was like, it's a night out on the town. We're here to see a comedian. So all the young people know how he is. And then the old people were just like, ooh, and he's going, oh, stop. Just stop. But it was a good show, because I remember even Andy came up after, and he goes, I don't know where to go from here. Like he was really that funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's awesome. Andy did great though. Andy went out, one of our friends that went out there, and he did real well, and he had a lot of good jokes, and he had one time he was telling a joke about his grandfather and playing video games and all this stuff, and oh, Pop, you're so proud, and all these people start going, oh, and he goes, Yeah, it's not even a true story. Like my grandfather's dad, and he didn't do it. And it was funny because he just like broke the last wall down. He was like, "That's not even. I just made all of that up." And you guys are like really thinking like I'm a nice guy and all that stuff. And I'm like, "See, that's how you do it. That's exactly." But yeah, no, that's a weird place to do comedy. It really is. It's strange. I won't go back there. I don't think to see another show.
How long did you get to smoke with him for?
Well, we smoked, and then we sat there, and Joe Clark was around. Literally, the whole club, they cleaned the place, and it was Croc Rock. And literally, they kicked us out.
Yeah.
Joe Clark comes up, he's like, guys, I'm locking the doors. You got to get the fuck out now. And we stood outside in I think the alley in the parking lot for a while talking some more. I was almost ready to go on tour with him. Like, travel with this guy.
So where would he be coming back to? One Center Square, or is he coming?
Yeah, he's coming to One Center Square.
That's awesome.
I want to say 2 months from now, maybe March or something. March or April, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy how, like, you start all these things and then they're constants throughout your life. And, like, how you started the music and then now you're still remotely hands down. Like, that's what I noticed the most about you is, like, you're, like, deep into everything you're doing. Like, you're still doing the tattoo stuff, you're still doing it, but it's like you're still running a shop, you're still running it, but like you don't half-ass anything.
Well, I wouldn't. I don't know if I go that far. I half-ass a lot of stuff. I could definitely.
But you're good at hiding it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I keep it busy. It's what you say. You keep so much eye candy going, you don't notice the blemishes. You know.
Yeah.
I could definitely be a lot more organized, more. Manage everything I do a lot better. And there's different times in my life where I have been. Other times I'm just kind of that artist that's off the deep end. Usually you have someone that's a gifted artist, they're a horrible business person. You have someone that's a great business person, they're too stiff, they're not going to make a good artist. Somehow I kind of teeter back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
And it really is. It's an energy thing and just a mind frame thing. You can't really... So I'm not saying you can't, but it's difficult to be a really meticulous business person and be that just free thinking, kind of lucid thought artist.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost you need to be one or the other. You're kind of cheating both of them if you try to be both. Yeah. But as far as just all the other stuff, it's
the first time I've done that in a while.
Stop act professional. What the fuck?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm half-assing this.
Spike in the basement. But as far as music, I realized too, I was saying earlier about, so many people come back, they want you to do all this stuff for them and take them on the road, make them famous and all this stuff. And you realize you become valuable. And it's one of those things, I'm kind of a lifer and I don't really care as long as I'm part of the music. And I realize it's all part of it. Even doing that bouncer thing, I played with Guar, I saw Guar, and one of the best Guar shows ever, though, was catching crowd surfers for Guar at Croc Rock. There I am, eye level with the crowd, facing the entire crowd as if I'm Guar in a way, but eye level. Brocky it was before Brocky had passed away, he spraying me in the back of the head. I must have looked insane judging the way the crowd's looking at me, but it's like, I just realized as long as I'm part of it somehow, some way, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm that goofball on stage with the microphone in front of a sold-out national crowd, and sometimes I'm just that meathead back there carrying some equipment nobody sees, and sometimes I'm that goon security guy. I really don't care as long as I'm around the music.
Yeah, I guess to retract what I said, not meaning half-assed, but like it's always been a part of your life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've always been into music. Like, there's people who listen to music, but there's not people who are in a band or then they're bouncing or they're running a tattoo shop or you know what I mean? Like, it seems like it's in your blood to be doing all this stuff.
It's a term. Some of us call it, we're just lifers. You know what I mean? I can't really... Actually, brought Mike Tyson. I had a conversation with Mike Tyson one time over dinner. I went through a phase when I stopped being a hoodlum, and around the time I got into tattooing, a little bit before, where I actually tried to be normal clothes, normal hair, normal job, normal friends. I just realized that wasn't me. I just have to be this way. It's just the way I am. It's how I'm comfortable, and I'm a lifer. I couldn't really just stop doing any of this. I can't. It's just what I do, and it's what I enjoy doing. And not for nothing, some of this time I'm a horrible drummer. I'm still not, really don't consider myself a great musician, but I do know a lot about music. I've made some pretty awesome things happen. I've achieved some pretty awesome things that a lot of people only ever dream of. But I've gotten kind of accomplished at a lot of the things. I've spent a good part of my life doing this stuff. And, to say with tattooing, I tell people it's kind of like being an auto mechanic. People see you tattooing and they think you just sit down, you tattoo like that. And no, as you want to be an auto mechanic and be a really awesome mechanic, do it for 5 or 10 years. You'll get good. But no matter what, it's going to take time. And I've spent enough time in my life now doing certain things where I'm definitely not mediocre. I'm above the curve, and I appreciate that. It's a feeling of accomplishment, and it's inspiring though too, because when you first start this stuff, say the band thing, you want to start this band, you're in a basement with some dudes, can we play a show? And finally you find some bar, it's like, all right, you guys can play, we'll give you a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah.
And you show up and you're all excited, and there's like 5 people there, maybe 2 people, and that's your first show. And then next thing you know, somehow there you are, you got $1 million tour bus waiting for you, and it's a sold out national show, and you're just kind of like, how did I get here? But it inspires you at that point. It's like the first time I stood on stage in front of a sold out national crowd and had them cheering for me. At that point, I knew if I did it once, I could do it again. So it inspired me to keep going. It's an awesome place to be. And once you know that you can be in an awesome place like that and do those awesome things, why would you stop?
Yeah.
So
with connecting all of this, and then I definitely want to have you back on, because I want to get into Russian stuff and whatnot, but I want to know how you got into skydiving, because that's also a big part of your life from when I guess it's obviously a seasonal thing, but you do it nonstop. It seems like you're addicted to skydiving.
Well, that's definitely an addiction. That's another thing.
He won't do it.
No, I messaged you. My mom wanted to do it over the summer, and for the Christmas before, me and my brother got her a thing to go up to, was it Stroudsburg, East Stroudsburg? Sky's the limit. So we paid for it, and we're like, all right, you're gonna go skydiving. And then my brother was coming home, and he was like, we're all gonna go skydiving. And I said, no, I don't want to go skydiving. I just don't have that need to do that. And then he's up, and he was just like, yo, man, I don't care what you say, you're gonna go. And then I walked up, and the one dude was from Nazareth. I don't know his name, but anyway, my brother knew him from something, and he was there, and he was like, yeah, we all want to go. And he looked at me and he goes, no, bro, you're over the weight limit. And I go, see, fucking cheeseburgers work. You know what I mean? And he goes, no,
but you have no, regardless of your weight, you have no interest in doing it. I
don't want to do it anyway. But no, he's like, the shoots we have are set up for something. And I go, dude, you don't have to say anything else. I'm not taking it to heart. I don't care. I'm glad you said this, because now I don't have to come up with anything else that I don't want to do. But they went though. My mom went, and she had a blast. We paid to get the video and all that shit. She had a blast. My brother went, and he had a great time. So now she was like, when are we going again? I'm like, well, you can pay for it. I'll drive you there all you want.
She wants to go again.
Oh yeah. She was pissed because she'll get she has rheumatoid, arthritis.
Yeah.
So she ended up a week before, she had this nodule on her elbow. So the way they filmed it, and it's fisheye, you could see her elbow, and it was this huge so all her video, see this there, she's going, oh my god, look at my elbow, and she kept doing it. So everybody see the video, they go, what's the matter with your elbow? She goes, she had a fucking blast. She was like, that was the best thing I've ever done. This is so great. And I guess the guy that went with my brother, he was like, hey man, how do you want to do this? Do you want to have fun, or do you just kind of want to jump out of a plane? And so he was like, no man, let's go. And he was like, all right. So he was spinning around and doing shit. So he's like, no, that was fucking great. I'll definitely do this again. So they had a blast. Damn. So they it's a pretty cool spot up there.
It's one of the best places.
Is that where you started going?
My first one was in Texas, San Marcos, Texas. I tried it. It was crazy. I just wanted to try it. I was always into crazy stuff. But once I did it once, and I tell everyone this, if you think you want to be a skydiver, try it once. If you're meant to be a skydiver, you'll know. Because at that point, you're like, I must go again. But you should try it once. And it's crazy.
I want to. As soon as the weather clears, we'll do something.
I want to go when it's warm. Yeah. But Sky's the Limit is a very safe place, very professional. I didn't realize this until I started skydiving other places.
Do you work there?
No,
I thought you worked there. That's how much you go. I was like, I think this guy's an instructor.
No, did you get your I was at your license. Did you do that part?
Tandem rating. Oh, I'm a licensed skydiver.
So if you do that, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah,
then.
like it's $25 for me.
That's what I'm saying.
Licensed skydiver.
So because when we were talking about it, and my mom was like, "This is amazing," and I go, "Yeah." I said, "Tom goes all the time." Yeah. So I showed her your post, and she goes, "How can he afford to do all that?" And I go, "Yeah." So then we asked, and the guy's like, "Yeah, once you get your light, like you jump, it's like super. It's really expensive.
$25. All we're paying for is the plane ride.
Yeah.
Up. Yeah. If you have all your own equipment, it's literally.
Do you have your own equipment?
Yeah,
that's nuts.
I mean, it's expensive to break into it. My rig's about $7,000.
Do they check your rig and everything, or if you're licensed, they don't, or do they still have to?
It's on you to do it.
Oh, that's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, now every 6 months, your reserves got to be packed by a licensed rigger.
Yeah.
And he goes over it, but that's only every 6 months.
And they watch all that license. I mean, you obviously, if you go that much, you're paying attention to it, and you have to follow by all of it.
I pack all my stuff, but it comes up in the computer that your rig's out of date.
I'm getting nervous just talking about it. That's so nuts.
You can't jump your rig.
Yeah.
But it keeps you safe, and it really is these days. It's safe. Like some of the people I know were skydiving 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would have done it back then. It was definitely, that's when it was dangerous.
Well,
the equipment
didn't they
failed.
back then? It was like you were tied to a line.
They had belly rigs and stuff.
But that too. But I know, like my boss went. He said, "Yeah, static line. You just run out and automatically pulls your chute."
Yeah.
And he was like, "It was cool," and I was like, "That's not what my mom did." So no, she was. Yeah, she was into it. She goes, "That was so fucking fun. I'll definitely go again." I'm like,
so what do they do the first time that you have to go with somebody?
You have to, yeah. I was that guy. I was like, I don't need that guy strapped to my back. Just tell me what to do. I won't freak out. Of course, they wouldn't let me do that.
Yeah.
I still remember the door of the plane opened. The first person around made that sucking noise. The plane rocked a little bit. I got real excited.
Point Break.
Yeah, the guy that movie made so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made skydiving look so cool.
Yeah.
They did.
They really did.
They made everything look cool in that movie.
That might have been part of the reason I wanted to go so bad. I mean, so many skydivers will quietly admit to you in private Point Break. That was
I'm always
I'm
pro. Fuck that remake, but the original, that movie still holds up, man.
Yeah.
If you throw that on when you're bored, it's still a fucking awesome movie.
You too. Give me two.
Yeah. I think he's just eating hot dogs the whole time. Best character.
Oh, that was before I think he got into his accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome.
So you just got into it in Texas and then just got
I tried it once in
addicted to it?
Texas. So yeah, the guy took me at 3,700 skydives. And it's not like I actually got scared. I got real amped and everything. We went out the door of the plane. I guess in my mind, knew he knows what's going on. We're going to be safe. But we went out the door of that plane. I definitely got real excited. I was like, I'm kind of glad this guy's back there. It's a little more serious than I realized, But I wasn't horrified. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna become a skydiver. So waited a while till I had the money to do it. Went to Sky's the Limit in Stroudsburg. Had to do a tandem again because you have to do it within 30 days for it to count. It'd been maybe 2 years. It took me to get the money up. So do my first tandem up there, and then my first 6 solo jumps. Now, when you say solo, like you start your AFF, you're not strapped to anyone anymore. First one, you have 2 instructors, and they stick their hands through your harness, one on each side.
And they fall with you? They
fall with you, and they make sure you do everything right. If you don't deploy your parachute, they deploy it for you.
That would be nuts, too.
Yeah, and then after a couple, you get down to 1 instructor, and then, by about the, I think it's 5th or 6th one, they jump out with you, but they're not hanging on to you anymore. Well, those first 5 or 6 jumps horrified the hell out of me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, because suddenly I realized it's me.
It's up to you. Yeah.
It's up to me, yes. And I mean, it scared me to death.
Because like, how much time do you have before you have to, I mean, you have to be paying attention the whole time, but how much time can you let go and just be like, this is fucking nuts before you can, I mean, are you looking at a watch the whole time?
I have an altimeter.
Yeah.
And it's called altitude awareness. So if you get out 13,500 feet, in general, you're falling 1,000 feet every 5 seconds.
Oh my
in
God.
general. So if you do the math on that, from 13,000 feet, you have about, 65 seconds or so until you're going to hit the earth.
Oh, my God.
Now, usually you want to...
He's sold already. He's like,
I'm in.
Yeah.
Dude, my adrenaline's going a little bit. I'm in. I can't.
That's not for me.
I can't wait.
Typically, we free fall about 40 seconds. We'll free fall maybe 8,000 or 9,000 feet. A lot of people deploy 5,000, 4,000 feet. Dirty low pulling's 3,000 feet. Because at that point, 3,000 feet, you only have 15 seconds, and you deploy your main parachute. And if that has a malfunction, it take you a few seconds to figure out something's not right with it. Well, now you're at 2,000 feet, and you need to chop that away. Cut loose on that and go to your reserve. You only have 10 seconds till you're going impact the earth.
Oh my
Your
God.
reserve needs about 750 feet to fully, deploy and open.
Do you always go with someone?
No, I go solo a lot.
Like just it's
I'm
just
in,
you.
I'm into speed skydiving. I want to become a world record skydiver, world champion skydiver.
Yeah.
I
So
caught
you want to jump out of a plane.
I still do.
He wants to go fucking super fast.
I've hit 261 miles an hour already. And I'm pretty sure I can break 300.
And you have a suit too.
I don't really use the suit
I saw you
too
in a
much.
picture of a suit. Do you
Yeah,
have it?
but it's
Like
mostly
the squirrel suits?
Well, I started doing the suit. The suit, you
They're
won't go that
fucking
fast.
nuts.
They actually slow you down.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah, and you have to have 100 skydives before you're even allowed to try one of those. And you start off with a baby wing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of. I love skydiving. There's so many different aspects to it. And I feel so blessed. I mean, because from just not for nothing. I mean, I did some bad stuff earlier in my life. I was a hoodlum kid. Not so much like I chose to do that, but it's where I was in life.
Yeah.
And somehow I went from that to there. I am just flying through the sky, and I'm like, let me go pet this cloud. And I feel so
Yeah.
blessed. Like, how did I become worthy of this experience? It's almost like you're what do you call it? The superhero or something.
Yeah.
I'll fly through the sky. I literally do.
I'm a superhero on the ground.
So
Pretty low on the ground.
so how did you end up meeting your wife? Because I thought when you said you met your wife, I thought that
I
was.
met her skydiving.
But if you're not an instructor, she was just in the plane with you, or
Yeah,
like
we both started skydiving about the same time. So there's this hot Russian girl, and she's skydiving. So now I'm a skydiver. I need a hot skydiver girlfriend. And yeah, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's
I
a
don't-
long story. We
no,
gotta
we,
get into
I
this.
might
want
wanna
to.
save that
No, because that gets pretty seedy, and I didn't bring that up because I wanted to get into it because we're almost at 2 hours. But like, I definitely want to get. Yeah, it goes by fast. I definitely want to have you back on, and if you want to get into that, I would love to tell that whole story. But I didn't know. Like, that's why I was like, well, how did you meet her if you weren't an instructor? So she was just happened to be at Sky's the Limit.
She was at Sky's the Limit, and we
That place is packed. When
Yeah.
we went up that day,
See,
it's
now
like,
that I know there's hot Russian chicks there too, I'm like, let's go.
no, there's,
Are they
there's-
there all the time?
No,
is
I'm
what
serious.
I'm asking.
It's packed. Like when you went up, I think there was probably 20 people there. So they're going up and taking like different groups. And but
So
it was
where is it?
amazing.
Like at an airfield or?
East Stroudsburg
No,
Airport.
in the middle of the street. You know, you had the
Well, no, I
Dodge
didn't know if it
cars
was just like they had property and their own
See,
thing, or if it's at
East
the
Stroudsburg
airport.
Stroudsburg.
Yeah.
It's literally like when you're in East Stroudsburg, like you wouldn't think there's an airfield there. Like there's a bunch of strip malls and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you turn over and you're like, oh shit, there's an airfield here.
So what do you got to go to? So you go there, and then you obviously have to watch probably dated video on safety.
The video more, it's not so much. It is safety, but it's a little more just release as far
Yeah.
as insurance purposes. Saying, here's what you're about to do. Here's how serious it is. There are things that could happen no matter how safe you are.
Yeah.
And you have to sign some waivers. That process maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then you can jump.
But you can pay ahead of time, and then you can. When we paid ahead of time, we had you have different things you can do. So if you want to do like your first jump, if you want them to film it, so then they'll hook up like cameras and stuff. Or if you want somebody else to jump next to you and film you.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to do that. We were going to go crazy. So we just had the instructor have it like a GoPro on his
GoPro,
arm.
yeah.
But you can literally pay somebody to jump and like fucking skydive.
How long's the whole experience, like the drop?
Well, the other video guy now, the wrist cam, he's
Yeah.
always with you. That's your instructor. Yeah, you're going to free fall about 40 seconds to deployment. You're going to free fall 8,000 or 9,000 feet and then deploy the canopy. The canopy ride be at least another minute or two to the ground. Maybe
How's
a little
that
bit
usually?
longer.
Just like that's when the adrenaline's still going.
The adrenaline's still going, but that's when you have that relaxation.
Yeah.
Because everything's so wild, especially in the beginning.
You're like, hey, I'm not dead.
Yeah, when that parachute opens, and everything calms down, you realize like I'm safe.
Yeah.
And that's when you really kind of relax and just, it's a good day.
Do you ever do it and then pack everything up and go back? Do you do it multiple times in a day, or you just do it once?
The most I went one day was maybe 7 or 8 times.
Like that's what I'm saying too. Is I would be so hooked on. It's like when you go to when you would go to Dorney Park and there's no one there, and you ride Hercules and you're like, well, why don't you just fucking run it again? And they're like, no, you got to get off and walk all the way around. But like that's where I would feel. I already know what my face looks like, and it's smirking. Like I would get totally hooked on wanting to go.
You'll know once you go once, and that's what I tell everyone. You'll know once you go once, you can't pretend.
Yeah.
And if you're meant to be a skydiver, bro, once you go that one time, you'll be like, I got to get back there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would go. I mean, you never know what you're going to do.
Think about it. It's really not that far.
No.
It really isn't.
No.
It just has to be a decent day.
Well, Manzo asked me to go, and I was like, I'm going to have this guy on, and I said, he's going to know the best way to do it. And I said, well, set something up. I was like,
you think you might actually want to be a skydiver? Wait till about April when it warms up. Come do your tandem, because that's your level 1. You need to do a tandem. And, it's about $200 for your tandem. Now, that will count as your level 1, though, for your AFF. So if you do that within 30 days, you don't have to do another tandem. Your next jump will be, with the 2 instructors hang on, you'll fly your own parachute.
Yeah.
So, and that all counts.
Are you friends with them up there?
Yeah.
I wonder if they would do the show. I reached out to somebody years ago.
I can get them very good friends with them. I don't work there, but I'm kind of...
Yeah. But it would just be interesting to interview somebody who does it.
The winter would be the time to get them because they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could try to get Teresa on the phone now.
No, because I mean, I probably reached out somewhere, and it might have even been
They
that.
helped me out with you.
Yes.
They were...
Yes, it did.
Yeah, that's part 2. That's part 2.
Yeah, part 2 of the saga. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You're there's so many things that you do that interest me. You've said some really powerful things on here, and that's why I wanted to have you on. I mean, you just talking about how, you getting to where you're going and just having drive and not giving up on stuff. And sometimes I do these and I want a message to come across, and you hit so many points that I wanted to get to without even having to get you to ask questions about, like, just, I feel like there's so many people who don't take a chance on wanting to do things, and they don't take a chance on being called to things. And I feel like that's one of my favorite things about you, is that you just kind of embrace that 100%, and you are that person. And even the fact that you're like, I dress normal and I just couldn't do it. And like so many things hit home with me where it was like, there was a point when I stopped doing this clothing company and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I'm like, no, man, like, stop fighting to want to be your own boss. Stop fighting to want to dress the way you want to dress. Stop trying to just fit into this mold that isn't. And then the older I got, I look at my brothers and they're nothing like me. And I never stopped. And it's to the point now where it's like, I just started working for myself. And I said to somebody the other day, I said, I was talking to Keith. I go, I'll never go back. I'll never go back. This is what I want to do. And I feel like sometimes when I look at your social media, you're the epitome of that. Like, you just do what you want to do.
There's so many people that inspired me, though, the same way. And it's almost what you said, though, is about embracing things and taking that chance. The Butthole Surfers.
Yeah.
One of their old albums, Locust Abortion, Sweet Leaf. It's almost like a cover of the Black Sabbath song. In the beginning, there's this little child voice, Daddy, and it's like, yes, son, what does regret mean? And, the dad voice is like, well, the funny thing about regret, son, is it's better to regret things you have done than to regret things you haven't done.
Yeah.
And that stuck in my head so much. So, again, there's, I heard that when I was, 17, 18 maybe, and it's just all these little influences, but that's the epitome of it right there. Is the worst is to look back and realize that maybe something could have been awesome, or you should have done that and you didn't do it. It's definitely better to look back and be like, I wish I hadn't done that, but at least I tried, and I know that definitely is something I shouldn't have done.
Yeah. It's super important. I mean, I was having a conversation with someone today, and over like the last 5 years, I had so much going on and so many things different happening, and you start doubting yourself and you start being like, well, I don't know if I should be doing this. This is crazy. Should I have left this job? Should I have done that? And I said to the person today, turning 40, I couldn't be more completely satisfied with where my life's at. And 5 years ago, I was looking at my life and being like, well, should I have gotten married? Should I have just stayed at a job? Should I have stayed at Martin Guitar when I started working there at 18? And what money would I be making now? And the question is no. I was never happy at all. And it's not for everybody. Some people like do it. My brothers are all two of my brothers are completely normal. So like, but my other brother also chases, skateboarding and wanting to do that. And it's just, if that's in you and you fight it, like, you just end up being unhappy.
You're probably about that stage of, judging by what I see from you, where you're at the point now where you're more or less successful with what you're doing, so it inspires you to do it even more.
Yeah. No, when you were saying that, it was just completely hitting home.
Yeah, like, you don't have much trouble believing in yourself.
No, not anymore.
I made it this far. Who knows how far I can actually go now?
Yeah.
But yeah, when you first start off, man, It's a whole lot of doubt, man, because you're doing what you haven't done before.
It's easy to stop.
Yeah.
And then there would be times where I'd be like, okay, out of everybody I know, who would have kept going? Like with the clothing. Like that is, I mean, you know that. It's such a motherfucker. Especially with you take of when you started the clothing, or even when I started my clothing, trying to run an apparel brand out of the Lehigh Valley is next to impossible. It's easy now.
Yeah, the Valley's changed so much.
It's easy now.
Especially social media.
Yeah, but I mean, back then, it's like it's fucking hard. And there was definitely points where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But like you said, you just go into it. You just keep doing it, and then you get that little bit of confidence. And then when you're over the hump, which is I believe right where I'm at now, like you said, it's so much easier. It's like, the work's done. The work is done, and now let's see how far this can go. Now that it's to this point,
just keep building it.
Yeah, man. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I know you're a busy man, but I also enjoy that you're a night owl, which made this easier because some people are like, man, it's kind of late and whatnot. But I definitely, there's so many things we can do. I want to do the skydiving thing. I can have you on with the lady from the skydiving. I want to reach out to One Center Square, and even if you want to come on with them, like I'd like to talk to them and see if they'd be interested, because I want to you're connected to so many interesting things that I'm just like, like the music and like even just that whole booking thing. Like I didn't realize that like that's went on. Like I just thought they called bands and were like, hey, would you like to come over? I didn't know there was like a manager in between or any of that shit. Like I'm just looking at how I do this. Just hit somebody up on Instagram. You want to come on the show? I didn't realize that, but that's a whole nother thing. So like, and I told you yesterday, I was like, it's show 1. I want to come back. If you don't give a shit, I'd love to get into the whole Russian stuff and all that crazy stuff.
I'm game.
You got some fucking crazy stories.
I said from the beginning, I said as soon as you're done with all that,
yeah,
you have to come on my show.
And I want to give.
To talk about it.
I kept
well, he said to me too. He's like, dude. He's like, I want to be able to, and I don't want to go too far because I want to tease it, but like. I feel like you should have an opportunity to tell your side of the story of what went on there. I feel like you did get the shit end of the stick.
Yeah, for a while there was I couldn't really talk about it even if I wanted to. But now I can talk about it.
Yeah, and it's very interesting.
I could even bring some material.
But no, man, I want to thank you. Like I said, our paths have crossed for over years, so it was a pleasure to interview you, and I'm excited for the second one. But if you want to plug any of your social media or anything you're doing or anything you got coming up, feel free to do it.
I just want to say thanks for having me on here. I'm
Absolutely,
happy to be
man.
a part of what you're doing. I've watched you grow this, and it's
thanks,
good
man.
to see you doing this.
No, it means a lot, especially
we'll tag all your stuff. So.
Yeah, and it means a lot coming from somebody that I see like that just did a lot of the shit that you did growing up.
In fact, you with Jesse, I mean, the way I met you, you helped me out in a bad spot, bro.
Yeah,
I don't forget that, man. So to sit here with you in this moment,
like I said, we'll get into that. Like I said, all I can tell you people is the very first 5 minutes I was going in to meet you for the very first time. 3 of the correctional officers will said, are you seriously here for that guy? And I was like, why? Because I mean, I've bailed out some people and been involved with people that like with colostomy bags and like weird shit. And I'm thinking, what the fuck's the matter with this person? And he's like, he's got like tattoos on his head and like his neck, and he's got piercings. And I go, I know a lot of people like that. And then he looks at me and he goes, he's right up your fucking alley then. And I'm like, and then in comes Tom. And then that's where we'll go. Yeah.
We'll say that for part 2. I just, like I said, can't thank you enough for coming on, and I forget even how we end the fucking show because we've been doing JCE. Be safe, drive safe, and God bless.
Thank you again.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, dude.